We are rolling.
All right, so let's go with this one instead. You guys, yeah, this is much more appropriate. You guys, start heading away from the camp that is now, a cinder, and in tow, you have a horse, a cart, a chest full of what you presume to be silver ore.
Box
You've
of
got like
rocks
a
again.
Yep, you got like some you've got some random stuff back there. I think like maybe you took that barrel and probably filled it with the extra rations you guys found.
Couple
And
daggers, short sword, rapier.
yeah, a
and
couple daggers, a short sword, and like a tent. And you tried to salvage what you could from the place. There wasn't a whole lot that wasn't just like burned to a crisp,
Sorry, guys.
including the people. And yeah, you set off back westward down the road towards Arnhen. I think Calvin is on the cart, like possibly driving it. I don't know how much cart experience the rest of you have, and
Trios has zero.
I think maybe
He has not even seen a horse before
he's
now.
not driving it. Regan is most
Yes,
definitely
Regan
driving
most
it because
definitely
Regan
has
has a
cart
wagon.
experience.
So he's probably sitting up there with Regan, and I think the rest of you are walking like behind, and Sarcasmus is sitting in the back of the cart, like his legs well off of the ground, and he's just kind of kicking his feet while the cart's moving forward. And you work your way off into the late afternoon. I think it's probably like 4 o'clock, maybe 5. So you have like a good bit of traveling time left. And it sounded like you wanted to like get as far as you could, and potentially travel into the night. It's
Yeah,
like
if it would be a matter of like getting back before midnight, I would think we would press on.
it's definitely possible in this country. You don't have to worry about traveling through like wooded area very frequently. I think it's probably like out here in the open fields. Even at night, you would know that like if there's any moon at all, you have fairly good visibility. So like travel at night, unless it's heavily cloudy or stormy, probably fairly reasonable. And yeah, I guess Krios and Padine and Telemon, you're walking there like beside the cart or behind it, probably behind it. I imagine you probably wouldn't be in front of the horse.
I'm trying to stay as far away from the horse as possible.
Yeah, that's not the one you slapped. But yeah, like you've had some bad experiences with horses in your very very recent past, apparently. Do you guys are you guys like trying to do anything specifically while you're walking? We're gonna get some rolls eventually for your travels, but I just want to know what you're doing, I guess. If you're doing anything, like having a conversation,
I
trying to.
tell him on the stink eye because I didn't get to engage in battle. You did not need
Yeah.
the rights of combat.
I'm sorry, my friend, but I thought that the man for bow there would like shoot arrows at you, and I could not see that going well. So I figured I would end it there and then. But I did not think it would
Puny.
be quite so
Puny
explosive.
arrow wouldn't even penetrate my hide.
I think I'm fairly accurate, and I guess sure in my guess that Regan at the front of the cart probably mutters something about like this was not part of the plan. Like you
No,
have to say it
He,
really
he
loudly.
turns out and goes, "Death is coming. We should go."
Oh yeah, well, no, he mutters that under his breath too, like this wasn't part of the plan, and then like death is coming for us all, and like you see him like look like around the field, kind of jitteringly for a bit. Then he like turns morosely back to the horse and like whips it a little bit faster.
I think I make a comment like, oh, you of course lived your life to the fullest, old man. Death is nothing to be feared. I, on the other hand, have much of my life to live before me yet.
Sarcasmus just kind of says like, not if your fireballs explode in your face like that.
That doesn't happen very often. It only happened once or twice, I swear.
Fickle spirits. Just mutter.
I do think that Regan's time is extended amount of time beyond
And one of those times didn't even involve magic. It involved a great large quantity of ale, I do believe. Can't remember that night too well, but I remember something about it.
You probably remember that there's a town you're not supposed to go back to, Telemon, but you don't know what town.
Unfortunate that.
I'm coming in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Regan's time beyond the veil was troublesome for him. I think he's seen plots all around him.
Well, it is true. I mean, I personally can't vouch for coming back from the dead, you know? It's a bit of a strange business.
Death is coming. You just hear him mutter again.
Does he do that
Krios
often?
No, not since he's come back.
You've doomed us all by corrupting the timeline.
Krios' vision of the future, though, does speak something to what he is saying, so there is some truth to it,
Yes,
perhaps.
quite disturbing those figures are. What with the coffins and all to carry around?
Three men in black cloaks all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
Sarcasmus just stops saying and he just starts gesturing over his shoulder back towards Regan.
Dark cloaks, maybe. Dark cloaks with large chains carrying coffins with monsters in them, not so much.
He drives a cart and he brings a bell and says, "Bring out your dead."
I guess that's
And he's
true.
got mealworms in the back of the cart.
Not this cart.
No, his personal cart, the one he chooses to drive. I mean, like, where do you think you got those arrows? He points to Padine and like the elven arrows over your shoulder. He's like, why do you think they weren't stolen over the years or over the months? He put them
they
in
do
the
have a
grave
musky
soil.
smell to them. Slight musky smell to them, that's for sure.
No, they'll kill what you shoot them at all the same.
Yeah, that is true. That's why I keep them.
So, Telmon, do you spend any time like trying to figure out what? I think you have that magic, like emitting statue. You took that, right?
It's in the cart at least. I don't know if I personally. I probably will be the one to take it because the mage is interested in it. But as far as what it does,
Would you try to figure that out on your journey?
yeah, sure, why not?
I mean,
I'm
like
really
you're
hoping
a
it's not fire related.
hotshot young wizard. Like, do you
Yeah.
think that any magical mystery can get away from you for long?
Yeah, that's we can do that way. I probably just I don't know rub my hands over it first of all. People don't think I look a little odd, but never know.
This is not something you're doing at one point. This is like you studying it over time. I think, like, you know, as you walk for maybe 20 minutes.
This
if
is me out of character, hoping it doesn't make a fireball, judging by our current
Yeah.
environments. Of all the places I would make a fireball, I don't think a field of wheat is high on my list.
You like you notice like I think just holding it being magical, you notice a little bit just off the bat. Let me see here. Where did my magic item go? Where could it be? There it is. So So like this is your kind of official description here. This beautifully rendered statue of a bird of prey with its wings tucked to its sides has been methodically carved out of a piece of fine jade. It has a firm heft to it and seems incredibly solid. After time, its eyes seem to almost stare back at you, but surely since it has no pupils, this must be an optical illusion. When held by a normal person, this beautiful statue is simply a statue. However, when held by one in which magical energies flow, the statue's soft green takes on a new, almost welcoming tone. You can kind of feel like most creatures have some sort of it's very hard to differentiate life from magic sometimes. Like there's kind of a subtle field I guess not a field, but there's just kind of a subtle energy of life that's kind of given off. And it's you may not know how to do it yourself, but it's how I think detect life is a thing in this game, is it not?
Good and evil and magic.
Is that a
I'm
cleric
not sure about
spell?
life.
I think you probably, if it's not, you probably know that like there's a sub school of wizardry or cleric spells that can do that. It's how that sort of functions. Like living things have like kind of a defined living aura to them, and it's not too dissimilar from magic. And when you're holding it, you kind of note that your own sort of magical energy is just sort of trickling around your hands, and it seems not to be absorbed by the statue, but like it's definitely sort of like it's almost like the statue wants to absorb it. Like it's sort of like spongy for magic almost, but it's not actively doing that. Do you think you might know anything further about this sort of thing? Like you're a well-traveled wizard, but you're also young. I don't know what you might know.
It strikes me that it's made of jade. It seems to be a very magical material. Perhaps out of character, it strikes me that I have a falcon in my image, and I don't currently have one. But in character,
I'll just point out that this particular item was made long before that image was introduced to the campaign. This is actually an item you guys missed in one of the tombs.
Ah.
it's,
Is it one of those sarcophaguses?
it strikes
I'm not
me
gonna-
that there
I'm
are
not
such
gonna say.
things as like statuettes that can call forth the representation of a beast or something of that nature.
So yeah, like do you think you might know something about this, like enough to potentially spout lore on this subject?
I think so.
Like it's a magical item.
User joined your channel.
Give me a roll with intelligence.
Only a 7.
Do you? Okay, all right. Even if you had used a book.
I don't currently have
Hi,
any of my
guys.
books either. They were left back on the ship.
Hello.
Sorry about that. I should have got my message on to...
Yeah.
I apologize for that. I'm connecting
fine.
now.
Okay,
Hopefully I
Alright,
didn't
so,
too much
you've been
excitement.
rolling down the road. You've been spouting about that.
You don't know anything about what it can do. You definitely recognize that this is very likely an object that is activated by like pouring energy, like magical energy into it, like to form a charge. You don't know if it's like something that like has a one-time use sort of thing. But you do know, or if it's just like something that has an effect that whenever you pour magical energy into it, like it will work. But you definitely recognize that it's like it's a sort of magical item that when you pour magic into, it's supposed to do something.
Okay. I currently only have one magic spell left for me for the day, so I will hold on to that.
All right. Regan, we're just currently traveling down the road back in the direction of Arnhen. Haven't done too much. I think we'll like you wanted to get as much travel in as possible. Your like I guess whether or not you can get there before midnight will depend on your trailblaze roll, I guess.
We decided you're driving the cart.
Copy that. Sounds good.
Yeah,
What
we
what
figured
stat
that
is
was pretty. Well, it's not a stat. We just
with-
figured that was a very Regan thing to do, given.
Oh
you know.
yeah, absolutely. I just meant for the Trailblazer roll. I wasn't sure.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like, you guys can decide who wants to be Trailblazer. It might make sense if the person driving the cart is, but all of the roles having to do with undertake a perilous journey is wisdom.
Okay.
Trailblazer is the one who reduces the amount of time. Scout is the one that keeps lookout for the trouble, and then Quartermaster is the one that deals with the rations.
Oh, I can scout this time.
All right, let's get a I guess a Trailblazer roll from Regan and a Scout roll from Padine. That's a successful Trailblaze roll. Not
Getting
such a
experience with
successful
cards.
Scout roll. Does anybody want to act as our Quartermaster? At Krios, are you again trying to hunt?
Yes, I'll try to hunt as we go.
Okay, all right. Give me a whiz roll. Ooh,
Yeah,
we actually have some
nice roll,
successes
man.
today.
We don't just see the dragon land on top of us, but we get to eat.
Yeah, you guys make very good time. Now that you have like a horse and cart to carry this chest, and you know precisely how far you need to go, you know how well to pace yourself, and you're able to kind of like occasionally take a load off from the cart. People can trade off a seat next to Sarcasmos, and yeah, like you actually make good time, and you think that you'll get there after nightfall, but it'll be probably around midnight. Like it won't be like super late. And Krios, let's see here. I want to see what you actually end up catching. Krios, can you give me a 1d10?
Uno.
Okay. So you catch enough food to basically reduce everybody's ration cost. Nobody has to pay rations for this time, but it's not a very good meal. I think you managed to catch. This is totally Krios. Krios wanders back from the fields carrying a wild dog over his shoulder that's been slain. And it's not a very appetizing meal for everybody.
Krios, about the hunt, it's, were you not very successful?
Is dog.
Do you even?
It's food.
I guess you probably know what a dog is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is small yapping creature.
Oh, a dog on Rife is much better.
Regan will probably turn to Krios and say that
There's
Just
meat,
do not-
yes?
it would be wise if you did not collect any such meat in town.
I think Sarcasmus says, particularly the little ones with the pointy ears. People get mad about those. Very powerful people. You never know when a wizard may happen to own a cat, and he he looks like he's talking maybe from personal experience.
Wow.
You can just stand looking at Krios.
Out
shaking
here in
his
the
head.
fields, probably wild. Not sure be that great eating, but we shall try, I guess. In town, likely to cause a lot of trouble if you would kill such a creature.
Yes, as Regan mentioned, some people do keep these as pets. Some animals are domesticated, meaning they live with the humans. So I'd be careful which one you kill around town.
Trios had a pet once, right? You spouted about that before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
Oh,
don't-
yeah. Good. Thank you for reminding me.
We don't know about that, do we?
This is a perfect time to actually bring that up.
Aha.
Krios, you once had a little what was it? Albertosaurus or something as a pet. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know it was lost in your very early days.
It had like this. It was like a green skin, and it had like black, or not black, like red stripes across it. Having played Ark recently, this helps. And it would often like fetch me like small animals to help me eat, like I don't know, some small furry creature like a squirrel or something.
So how did you like come to kind of partner with this dinosaur when you were
I had found
9
an
years
egg
old?
when I
Oh
was,
my!
and like I was going to eat it, and then like it hatched, and I was really young at that point, so it was real cute, and I was like, "You, small one, I shall help you," because I was small, and it was smaller than me, so.
The adventures of a boy and his dinosaur.
According to Google, I think Albertosaurus is the wrong term.
Well, whatever that thing he linked yesterday, little lizard. We'll call it no.
This is
I
not
think
the
that
same
the
one,
species I think is called little lizard in our universe.
but it's fine.
Did little lizard have a name?
I called him Red Stripe.
Red Stripe. Yeah. So like, how long did you have little lizard? Red Stripe.
Couple years.
What ended up happening to Red Stripe?
I went to engage. I got into a fight with raptors, and one of the raptors just ate him.
Oh no! Oh, not Red Stripe.
That's why I was so vicious at raptors.
I love how that dinosaur is called Albertosaurus sarcophagus. That's pretty funny. Okay, yeah, all right. Krios Mark XP. And
I reached level up ability.
nice. Padine, you're scouting. Can you give me a 1d10?
Okay.
That's dangerous sounding.
Yay.
Huh. Give me another 1d10. Oh, okay. All right, this is interesting. All right, so it's roughly it's getting on to the evening, and you guys have decided to push through into the night, and do you guys see a glow on the on the horizon a little bit over the next rise, and I think you guys are crossing into a little bit more wooded areas now, and beside the road, you definitely see some sort of camp. Not like a huge camp or anything, but like you see a fire. And as you start to get closer on the road, you can definitely make out that this camp is currently inhabited.
Is way to look at the.
Seems to be a camp ahead.
Should we kill this one too?
He can shakes his head and say, "Let's try to
Not
avoid killing more
choice.
killing more people." Regan's still shaking his head. Has no idea how Telemon was so
I have my hand on my sword as we approach anyway.
quick to violence in his youth.
All right. So yeah, like, you guys, do you guys approach the camp, or do you like just continue by? Because it's on the side of the road. It's obvious that you're just gonna have to pass within 10 feet of the camp. Do you try to make, like, basically just I mean, how do you
I
do
think
it?
they
Like,
would hear our card coming up on them.
no, I mean, they obviously do. You see a couple tents, like larger tents, I think. And you hear some like laughter, obviously the sound of joking. And as you get closer, you can see several people standing about in armor, like iron or steel armor.
I'll call out to them, "Ahoy to camp!"
Several people like turn and see you, and what look to be a couple soldiers with spears kind of step out, onto the road, near where their camp is, like not blocking the road, but like, kind of shielding the camp. And they say, "Ho, travelers!
Hello there.
What business have you on the Eastern Road at this time?"
Well, we travel to Arnhen. We know it well. We should be there in a short time.
You're not terribly far. You intend to ride the rest of the eve?
Yes, we have quarters there that we'll set into just fine as soon as we get there.
Ah, so yeah, like, you guys get close, and I guess, like, you come to a stop.
Yeah, quick stop to
Okay,
chat.
you can see there's probably like maybe 8 of them. They're not all like at attention or anything. It's clear that they've settled in after a day's travel or so, and they were getting ready to basically make camp here. Um,
We can see
uh,
my giant zombie is probably riding in the back. Trying
uh,
to maybe keep the lay
yeah,
down.
I mean, like, if that's what you wanna. It currently kind of looks like a charred corpse. Would you just have it
Oh.
laying down in the back of the
No, the other one. The one that's got the gauntlet strength on.
No, that's the one that looks like a charred corpse.
Oh, you're right, because it got burned like crazy. So
yeah,
it's gonna be
50% of
totally-
its health.
The other
Who's
one
gonna have
died.
that?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
other one
is-
died.
Yeah, I have its crispy skull in my inventory. So yeah, that one's dead.
Yeah, like, it's probably not immediately accessible. Like, unless they come and like search your cart, they probably won't see it. Do you just like tell your zombie to like stay still and pretend like it's actually dead?
I'll just keep the tell to. I'm gonna kind of like position it physically as it's kind of will respond, and I'll just tell it stay. Do not
Okay.
move. Very
Alright.
simple.
Where are you guards headed?
We're doing a patrol of the Eastern Road. There's been reports of banditry, as usual. Like, what one of the guys kind of snorts a bit, and he says, "After that, we're off to one of the forts to the south."
Oh, very well. But safe travels to you.
You run into any trouble on your way through the roads?
Well, not really.
Fairly safe journey, I would say.
Regan's gonna kind of glance at Padine.
Have there been any troubles to the south? If they're sending you to a fort down there?
Well, of course, that the tensions have risen between the kingdom and Ashar, certainly.
Tensions are always high between the
Oh.
kingdom and Ashar. What makes the difference now?
The raids, Ashar, you know how they are. Loose collection of city-states, always claiming no responsibility for those who come out of their territory and raid our own people.
Yes, I've traveled through Ishtar many years ago. Very, very eclectic kingdom.
It's like, you've been there, you say. Fairly out of the way. What business had you there?
Oh, I was traveling with a group. We traveled all through the continent and down to Rafe, so we passed through Ishtar to get to Rafe.
Really? What?
I'll pat Padine on the shoulder and say, he is a singer.
Yes,
A
I'm a
bard.
minstrel, yes. And it was, about 6, 7 years ago that I traveled through there. Things have probably changed a little bit.
Well, surely you must have passed through Fort Avaruk then. It's really the only fort still standing on the border.
Yes, just quickly, we mostly went to the different city-states. We would stay at near some of the royal courts.
Ah, part of a troop then.
That's correct.
Well, you're sure you're heading on?
Yes, we do have business in Arnhen.
They look a little disappointed, like maybe they were looking for some entertainment. But they say, well, good luck in your travels then. The roads seem fairly safe this evening. Be about your way then.
Have a good evening.
One of them kind of like nods his helmet towards you. And
do a nod back as I flick the reins on the horses again to get them
May the
slowly
steel
rolling out.
spirit bless your sword.
like I think the guy who talked like kind of moved back to the camp, and the guy who was standing next to him, like he's still there, and he kind of furrows his brow when you say this, Krios, and he just kind of like gives you like a confused nod. All right. All right. So yeah, you continue your way onto town. Let's see.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that. The fact that you didn't necessarily roll a hostile because we failed to encounter them. That was kind of cool. Rare to hit the
It
friendly
happens a
travelers
lot
out
on
here.
random charts like that. Not always, but mine for D&D was the same way with my salvage chart.
I could have tried to detect evil on them, and they could have all been evil.
This is true.
Maybe they'll.
As well as you too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Not
you guys make your way to Arnhen. It's definitely late at night. Like it's probably midnight as you arrive. The moon is high. And yeah, you've been blessed with good weather. There's the occasional cloud floating across the moon, but you've got a clear view. You see a few lights on in the town as normal. And fortunately for you, like Villa Arissa is on this rough side of town, so you have very little trouble making your way into town. And that was just me dropping a dice, not rolling it. And making your way back to the villa. There's just like maybe a single torch outside of the villa currently lit, and you clop in with the horse. And Regan, I assume everybody gets off the cart, and you lead the cart to the back of the villa, and get the horse kind of settled in, while everybody else enters the house.
Sounds like a reasonable assumption.
Good to be home again, though it was only a short time away. So it is strange to actually consider myself owning such an establishment, but it is quite. It is not fine now, but it shall be.
You see, like a little goblin child, like walking through the halls, obviously yawning. He's rubbing his eyes. He's got like he's basically walking in a nightgown that's too big for him. It's very clear that he just came from the pantry, and he's just kind of like slowly walking his way back towards the goblin section of the manor or the villa. So unless you guys have anything you want to do you can call it a night. Okay, yeah.
On my own in my room, I will commune with particular attention to pray for Felinda Daria to overcome whatever troubles she is having at this point. That probably allowed me to have troubles through the day.
Oh, okay. That was maybe a poor choice of phrasing, as your deity is not particularly pleased when you commune.
How come?
All right, so yeah, like I don't think you've ever actually spoken to Felinda Daria. You've prayed, you've got some feelings. You were very shocked. Like how do you normally pray? Like, do you just pray in front of a candle or something?
Yeah, I usually take my sigil off, place it down before me, kneel, and kind of pray for things to go well.
Okay. The candle like starts to dim to the point where you think it should be extinguished, but there's just like the vaguest sense of light, and it's like the only light in the room right now. We have music for this, I think. So, yeah, you start praying, and like a feminine voice with like it sounds like it's coming through a corridor almost. Answers you, and you're like kind of shocked, and and it says simply this: you mean to insinuate that your troubles are because of some lapse upon myself?
Oh no, I thought you might just need aid.
There's like a very like kind of poignant pause, um, like you like immediately react by talking to her, and she seems very displeased. Like you can just kind of feel it, and this is like the first time you've ever talked to her, and you've not really described what sort of order you've come from, but regardless, like personal interaction with your god, not a big thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I think
Very
maybe
shocked by this.
you're shocked and a little confused, probably a little frightened, and whoever's sending me messages right now, I'm certainly not getting them at the moment.
Oh, sorry, I just dropped you one quick private message. That's all. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll read it after. Uh, you like, yeah, I think it's safe to assume that you're definitely out of your depth, and she says, I have been most displeased with your actions as of late.
How so?
You have forsaken me for another, and yet you blame all of your troubles upon my failings, not your own.
What other have I forsaken you for?
You know the one, he who cannot be named. I have paid attention to you, and I have given you my aid. Do you not remember in the darkness I provided you my light, and it saved you
yes.
from certain darkness?
And yes, I thought you were giving me this aid because I was working in concert with the one who works for he that could not be named.
And why
Who
would you
cannot be
assume
named.
that I did anything of the sort?
From time to time, I've heard that you've helped them in some way. Helped him, I should say.
You have been misinformed.
Oh, well, Regan has taught me many things about bringing magics to the forefront that have stemmed from you. I would not forsake you in any way. I've just used him as a teacher to help find my magical powers through you.
You participate in his rituals, using his sacred words,
To aid him.
speaking chants to his god, not to me.
I did.
Oh yes. When you guys were doing your resurrection stuff, you've done it several times. You actually like read from his holy text.
Oh, yes, okay.
Always careful to pray to her when it's not that way. But yeah, you've read from my text a few times. I remember very clearly.
There haven't been very specifically careful prayers. That's why this has been coming.
I thought for sure that you would be fine with me aiding him.
I have aided you because you have been my follower. But
And
you have
I
been
hope
lax
to
in your
continue to be.
attentions, and you have devoted yourself to another. You have made me
I-
most cross.
I do not devote myself to he who could not. He that. Goddamn, I'm in trouble with that one. He who cannot be named, because his way is very different from mine. I practice my magics in the light.
And yet you bear his mark upon your soul.
I do.
He intervened directly into this realm to save you.
Ah, yes.
This speaks directly to your ties with him.
Be back in a second.
I think that was mostly Regan's doing. Is he and I have come. To
You
be
just
friends.
feel like displeasure, and like kind of like a wave of thunder roll through your consciousness, like urging you to cease your prattling. He says, "Do not mistake this conversation for something that it is not. I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm giving you one last chance to turn away from the path that you are on. It will be difficult, however. I attempted to show my displeasure with you before, and one of your compatriots interfered with this. He has my ire in his own way."
Oh, by all means, I will cease any kind of further devotion to any other but you.
As you should.
I just felt that you wouldn't mind me meddling or being meddled with in our comings and goings on the road, and on our adventures. I'm sorely mistaken. I will
It
heed
is-
your warning.
It is one thing to acknowledge the presence of another's deity, and it's one thing to accompany them upon the road, but to participate in their own holy rituals consistently. You have brought me great shame. If this were another time, I would not have allowed this. Consider yourself lucky and consider yourself warned. The next time I will not be so gracious. And like the presence just leaves.
The light comes back on a bit more. It's
No,
now one candlelight.
Nope, candle just goes out.
Oh, I'm in the darkness.
Yep.
I kind of just sit there and just trembling in fear for a little while.
Yeah.
I'll go to sleep with my nerves calm.
Give me 30 seconds or less. My girlfriend's calling. She's got in the airport. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so I know Regan is going to be probably communing with his own god in a second. Krios, are you like down in the crypts once again?
Krios is AFK.
Oh, okay. How about you, Telemon? What do you? Are you doing anything before bed, or are you just going straight to bed?
I would probably set the jade statuette upon my mantle. Or not? I guess I don't.
It's a very handsome statue. It's very well carved. It strikes a good figure.
I would think to myself that it's a beautiful piece of decoration, if nothing more. But we shall investigate it further on the morrow. And then I hang my cloak up, put my sword in its rack beside my bed, and lay down to sleep.
All right.
Been quite an adventurous day.
Let's see here.
I'm back, by the way. Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
So, yeah, on to Regan. What are you doing, and where are you doing it during this night?
Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is when I get back to the crypt, I am going to apologize for the unfortunate condition in which I returned him, but I'll return my crispy skull to the tomb that I found it in.
I think you
Return
just-
the full corpse.
I think you hear like the faintest whisper of just like, it's all right.
I was almost expecting it to be a fainted whisper. Screw you, Regan.
Hey,
No,
you basically got like the idea that like maybe this was not the first time this guy had been resurrected. He's like this again.
I am going to see if I can ask my other hulking zombie to remove his gauntlet before I put him back in his crypt.
It puts its hand on the gauntlet and attempts to remove it, and it tugs it and it cannot, and it turns to you, and like it's not intelligent, so it can't speak, but like yeah, you definitely, it gives you a look that says like, you know, it cannot comply.
At least it didn't pull his own arm off. I'm going to just basically make it lie back down in the tomb, where I found it then, or try to anyway. I know it's pretty huge, but get as close to it as possible, and then I am going to actually deactivate the spell after I say he's served me well, and that perhaps we will talk again one day, and then I will deactivate the spell. And am I
Okay.
able to remove the gauntlet once the spell is deactivated?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to take the spell off, and I'm going to put the gauntlet back in my... Actually, no, yeah, my pack of artifacts, so I'm definitely taking precautions with it in the future. And, yeah, so I've deactivated Animate Dead, and after that, I guess I'm going to close the crypt up, and it seems like a perfect place to commune myself.
Okay. What are you doing, and how are you doing it?
Other than the part that I mentioned to you earlier, I am, yeah, I'm just basically...
Well, no, don't say anything. Like, if you're doing it, do it. We're not
Okay.
having any private conversation here,
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
unless it's something you intend to basically hide from everybody.
No, I was originally... I guess it doesn't matter if everybody knows out of character, but yeah, Regan is basically going to, after he puts all the bodies around and everything is taking place, and he is in a good condition to commune. He's just going to commune in the crypt, and he's going to kneel down besides one of the tombs, and he's going to draw a couple runes on the floor, and place his hands on the runes, and kind of stare off into space for a moment as the purple, almost very faint backlight from his eyes fades away, and close them, and he's going to launch into prayer for You Cannot Be Named, for both to set in his main prayer this time, instead of for himself, is going to be to request that he cannot be named help steer his party to the right path. They seek silver where there is more important things at hand, and obviously the fate of the universe and reality itself lies on us, and we should not be so concerned with expense now that we have this gold, and I fear that they may become easily swayed by bits of coin and parties with the rich. So I'm praying for them that they do not do that, and I'm also praying
Hookers in blue.
that Padine find his way onto the right path, and that his mind has been clouded by Felinda Doria, but I believe that he has great potential, and I have foreseen great things for Padine.
You feel like a very faint chill up your spine during this, like it's just like a fan was turned on you very briefly, but like nothing happens, like, you know, nothing outstanding happens while you're doing your praying.
And while I'm praying, I believe since I am communing, I am going to actually level up. So I don't know how this is going to.
You're gonna need to sleep for that, but that's totally fine. Everybody's going to sleep. So
Should I adjust my sheet now, or should I wait?
Yeah, yeah, everybody, we're gonna
that's
skip
awesome.
to the morning. Assassins
gonna be
don't
an
take you guys
interesting
in your
morning.
sleep.
I'll-
Everybody who is able to level up, level up. Note again that like while you're at the villa, you do not have to spend a ration to rest or level up.
And on the Wraithlander stuff, I might end up taking a Wraithlander ability. Well, actually, not this time. I'm taking the Forbidden Land ability at the second.
You
I'm
get
going
that
to go.
one for free.
I am going with Tongue for that.
I figured.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
do you want me to wait to describe my tongue until I go down, or would you rather have me describe it to you by PM, or how would I do that?
You can describe it to us when it comes up.
Okay, that
It's
sounds
not
good.
necessary for me to know.
Might not be necessary, or might not immediately appear, but I have a pretty amusing thing worked out for it.
And what are you choosing for your level up?
And for the level up, I am choosing, and you know what's coming, Anointed for the Chosen One, and I am taking Anointed for the spell of Perfect Summons.
Oh boy.
I am going to actually even, as far as readying that spell for when it may come in handy.
All right, so perfect summons. To kind of remind everybody because this has been a long time in coming.
The second I saw that spell, I'm like, that's the one I want.
Is actually a wizard spell, but because Regan was a human cleric, he was able to choose one wizard spell that that he could cast. And by choosing perfect summon, or by choosing what was it? It was anointed. He can cast that as one level lower. So this is technically a 9th level wizard spell that he can cast as a 7th level spell.
Wow.
Yeah, I won't go into what it does until he uses it. But yeah, like the planning has been in motion for a while, like before the campaign started, I think.
yeah, it has. The spell's been on my wish list for a long time.
Everybody else, level up as you need to. Does anybody choose anything interesting they'd like to inform everybody about?
I put a point into Dex, so Dex will be +1 at next level, and I took Logical as the ability.
This means Sarcasmos levels up, I think.
I also took Contingency as my 7th level spell.
Do your hit points come back too?
Yeah. I mean, like you guys rested, so.
No, for Telemon.
Yeah, when you rest, it resets the maximum. But though the regular doesn't go back up yet, though. Slight delay in
Let's
that.
see here.
Yeah, your regular goes back up when you rest.
Oh, okay.
I am breaking
like
my
it.
constitution.
I like to think that the maximum goes back and then the rest kicks in.
I did not level.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh,
How
that is
far?
very
You must be
unfortunate.
close.
Yeah, I missed an end of session and I would have done it, but that's alright.
Okay. All right.
I put a point in Dex, and I'm gonna take.
You're level 7 now, right, Tel?
Yes, I just haven't. Yeah, didn't do it yet.
I'm gonna take Smash.
Hulk smash.
Ooh. I remember that one being cool.
A limb.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of that one. That was my favorite. I think that was my single favorite barbarian ability. All right, so you guys all wake up the next morning, and you wake up to the smell of I guess like probably eggs. And whoever comes down first, you find Sarcasmos. Like I think he's teetering, like balancing on top of a stool over a stove, desperately trying not to fall onto the stove, and he's trying to cook some eggs. They don't look particularly appetizing, but he gives a grin to whoever comes in.
Ah, hello, Sarcasmos. Eggs.
Master
this morning?
Tal? Ah, yes.
You look quite
Found
chipper
a nest
today.
out back.
A nest of what?
Birds? He just shrugs his shoulders.
Ah.
They
I'm
were
sure
kind of blue. Figured they might be yummy.
the birds or the eggs.
Well, the eggs. The birds, not so much. Like he spits out a feather.
I see. Have you seen any of the others this morning?
No one's arrived yet. All late sleepers.
It was quite an adventurous day yesterday.
Lots of traveling. Lots of explosions. Is this par for the course for you?
Regan
The
will
traveling,
step
yes.
into the room.
Explosions, somewhat. Large
Ah!
explosions, not so much.
Master Regan, would you like some eggs?
Regan will nod and say, "I would very much like some eggs." And then I will turn to the Telemon and say that the explosions were generally for less more dire situations in the past. I do not know what happened at the last raid. We generally do not blow that many people up for very little reason.
So, like you go to sit down at the table, and you're talking to Telemon, and like out of the corner of your vision, a plate with like a single egg floats its way kind of teeteringly across the room, and you see Sarcasmus like pointing a finger at it and concentrating very heavily, and it gets to like right above your place, maybe like a centimeter, and then it like gives out and it like falls, but it's only like a centimeter over the table, and it lands there.
Regan will nod and say, "That is most impressive. You have been teaching him, Telemon?"
I'm not sure how I should react to that. Have you found created a new use for your magic, Sarcasmus?
Well, I mean, you had me floating things around the mansion the villa the other day. It's a lot easier than just jumping off the stool every time I need something.
Good enough. I kind of think he may have made Mage Hand because Unseen Servant expressly says you have to actually place things onto themselves so they can't pick anything up.
The way I envisioned it is he created a disc and he slides it under what he needs to do.
Okay.
So Krios, like you emerged from the cellar, I assume, right? Like you were sleeping down in the wine cellar. And Krios comes out with a cobweb in his hair. Like you're sniffing heavily, probably, right?
I smell food.
Ah, yes, large one. Come, and like you walk into the kitchen, just hands you a plate.
If anybody watching Regan too closely, just out of curiosity of the assembled people.
It's morning. I think people can decide if they are, but I know Sarcasmus isn't.
Unless there's something interesting, I wouldn't say so.
I was just saying, if you're watching closely, you might notice it seems like my tongue is moving a little, I guess, more enthusiastically than usual. I mean, something you probably wouldn't notice. And it also occasionally moves. It seems to extend just a little bit past where it should every now and then, but nothing too egregious just yet.
Oh God. So Padine, do you come down?
I'm sleeping in quite a bit, actually.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you were troubled last night and
Yes,
couldn't get
took
to
me
sleep.
a while to get to sleep, so I'll be sleeping in then.
Okay. What are your plans for today, Master Telemon?
I do believe we have a shipment of silver to return.
Ah!
First things first. Then we have some salaries to pay, I believe. Some gold to distribute, assuming we actually do get paid, which I think we will. Other than that, I do believe there is a certain affair that the Duke or the Count, who was it?
Baron Verendis!
Yes, the Baron. We may call upon him this evening, I believe, unless there are other pressing matters develop.
Regan
Really?
turns to
You're meeting the Baron?
Regan turns to Telemon and he's going to ask him, so are we meeting the Baron about securing transport to greater endeavors, I hope?
I don't know what he wishes to talk about. I assume he may just wish to ensure pleasantry, but
Well, then Regan pauses,
I do think,
suggests that
even if it is only pleasantries, it seems to be to me that it is good to be in a good relationship with one whose land you inhabit.
Regan nods and says, perhaps that we should not waste that much time at a dinner party. We should speak to him about our pressing needs, and perhaps he can help fund our further expeditions. And then I'm going to bring up the fact that there's still something that has escaped the gates of death that we need to track down that I have heard about in the past. And then I bring up, I fill Telemine back into our whole kind of first adventure from Regan's point of view, which might, leave out certain things, but for the most part.
Like, so you take time to explain this?
Yes, I'm going to try to explain it to Telemon that we need to seek this out, and also that there are larger matters at hand in the universe, and that I think it is a waste for us to be spending so much time.
Well,
Unless he can benefit us in some way.
well, that's not what it said in Telemon's journal.
Regan's turning and asks Sarcasmus if he's reading his journal.
Well, I mean, it was open one day, and old Master Tell was asleep, and I was going to close it, and I happened to see some things, about a tree, and a dragon.
Regan turns and asks him if he should clarify where he's wrong.
Well, I mean, you keep saying everyone, we, like, I don't think it's right for you to imply to Master Tell that he has to do these things when he doesn't have any memory about it. Like, it said pretty specifically in his journal that you made some sort of deal. You.
Regan says that it was a necessary evil at the time to vanquish a greater threat, but now it's something that we must deal with. And I'm pausing for
There's
a moment.
that we again.
Yeah, he's gonna pause for a moment, and I'm going to say that Telemon the Red is rather important to fulfilling this, unless he wishes to let this evil run in the plan. The old Telemon that I knew did not.
Is this where that sea of coin was?
he says as he stuffs
Sarcasmus, these eggs are delicious.
Sarcasmus looks really pleased. You actually notice he has an apron over his purple robes.
How many birds did you find?
Well, the neighbors may or may not have an aviary. Or
Oh, great.
Who are the neighbors?
may have less of one. I mean, like, that villa, next door.
Oh, wonderful.
The one with the olives.
Regan just shakes his head.
Why?
Regan says that perhaps I should speak to Padine. I believe he believes that he knows what needs to be done in the world. We're facing a great crisis.
I'll be coming down after the end of your story, and while you guys are finishing up breakfast, I guess. Fine.
Yeah, you guys hear
could be
Padine's
that.
footsteps on the on the stairs.
They're quickly coming down.
All right, so yeah, Padine, you enter the scene.
Good morning,
Ah.
Regan. I must speak
Regan.
with you in private.
Oh.
Regan will turn and say, "Of course. Would you like me to grab you a plate of eggs from?"
Yeah, like Sarcasmus is holding up a plate, like.
It can wait.
And Sarcasmus' ears kind of fold back and go down, and he starts kind of trotting back to the counter.
Padine's sense of urgency is like very obvious. I'm going to stand up, and I'll kind of look to Telemon and Krios, and I'll point to Padine and say that perhaps that is the sense of urgency that we need, not to be spending time with the elite. And then I will smile and say that. But if we do go, perhaps I can speak some reason with him, and I'll smile a bit. And then I'll turn to Padine and say, let us go. Would you prefer the crypt, or do you prefer one of the rooms upstairs?
Outside, actually, would be best.
Regan will nod and say, "Of course. Let us go outside. I was meaning to fix up my cart anyway."
Somebody's alarm spell is going off.
That actually is a police car. I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. I was making a stupid joke.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
thought you said alarm bell, not alarm spell. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you guys leave. Telemon and Krios, you're left in the kitchen. Like as these two kind of like, I don't know if they suspiciously make it out. It's not suspicious if they overtly go to talk privately, but
Yeah,
like
I'm not like looking over my shoulder at them, like.
but like
real
they
glaringly, like,
they
"Aha,
very
away from them."
conspicuously leave together.
Must be more godly business.
Spirits.
Sarcasmo sits down and starts kind of poking at his eggs with a fork. So yeah, you lead the scene, Padine.
We couldn't.
Well,
We
actually,
can't have any more of those eggs, though, Sarcasmos. We'll have to go about see if we get some actual chickens.
Patine is leading me
The
outside.
eggs aren't bad, but I do believe the neighbors will worry eventually.
As Regan's leading Padine outside, he's going to be complaining to Padine about how the others do not seem to see the universal importance at what's his hand and that sort of thing. But then he'll be more than happy to listen to Padine when he starts talking.
Yes, well, I've had quite an important thing happen to myself. Last night I was praying to Felinda Daria, and she answered my prayers. She told me that she's come to my aid many times, as I have felt, but my assumptions were a little bit off base. I thought that she was compromising her or my faith to her by allowing you to be my teacher. It appears that that was very, very mistaken by me, and she has demanded that I stop any kind of rituals or worships of he who could not be named. I just needed to tell you because you've been a good teacher in the past, but I must find my own way in Felinda Daria from now on.
Regan's going to pause for a moment and shake his head and say that I believe you're making a great mistake, Padine. I had hoped he would touch your mind instead, but every instance I can think of where she has offered aid, she seems to have withheld it and not provided it for you, where I can think of many instances where I have felt his presence reach out and help you. I think you're making a grave mistake by following Felinda Daria's into the future. She does not care of this universe, or really of anything but our benefit to her pantheon and herself. And I'm going to pause for a moment and say, where is he who cannot be named concerned with the fact death has become seriously corrupted and will very shortly become a god in his own right. That is an imbalance of the universe, and Felinda Daria simply does not care.
Oh, I think you're mistaken in that. I think she will interfere with Death's plans, and I will worship her and use whatever aid she brings to me in the future without any kind of encumbrance to any other gods, including yours. I thank you for all your help, but I will be doing this with only Felinda Daria's aid from now on, Regan.
Regan looks rather disappointed and devastated by this for a moment.
What happened to your tongue?
Under the circumstances, he's probably gonna kind of sit there and give kind of a look and say,
It was necessary.
It has gained some gifts from my time in the afterlife, or my time in not so much the afterlife, but the land between. I'm gonna pause for a moment and shake my head and say, Padine, without your assistance, I do not know if we can overcome what is to come. Especially with the others so interested in spending more time with the rich and elite than joining us in attempting to change the fate of this universe.
I will assist you, but in my way. I've always found your way somewhat unsettling, but I've compromised to learn the ways of the cleric through you. But now I must find my own way through Felinda Daria.
Regan will shake his head.
I will aid in whatever threat there might be to this world or whatever other.
Regan will shake his head and say that I believe that you will find that Flindaria cares less than you think of humanity. And I'm going to say that it is a grave disappointment, and he's going to look he's going to look kind of really disappointed and kind of for the first time almost having a concern over like the hopeful future he had. And then he's going to nod and say that perhaps we can work together, but I do believe Flindaria will prove her jealousy and will find this unacceptable, while he who cannot be named has put aside his hatred for the greater good. But we shall see. But I do not believe it will be long before she demands more of you that is not necessarily in the best interest of this world.
Only time will tell.
Indeed,
will
how
nod
much
and,
over there in the kitchen?
What's that?
Indeed, time has affected Tell.
Yeah, I'll make our way back in now and say, well, we should come back inside and discuss what we're going to do next with the others.
Regan nods and we'll head back inside while whispering another silent prayer for he cannot be named to try to redeem this man before he makes a grave mistake, and then I'll head back into the kitchen as well.
All right, so they eventually come back to the kitchen, and Krios and Telemon, you've long since finished your eggs, and have started to get ready for the day. Do you intend to of course like bring the silver to Lurin Azur Silk first off? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the best.
Alrighty. So everybody meets back up and decides on that plan?
Yep, that's what I would suggest.
I'm good with that plan.
I think that's everybody
Once we have
signed off on
money-
it.
Once
Alright,
we have
so-
money, we come back here and see what we're going to do next.
So yeah, you guys head out and make your way to the market district. It's probably like 9:30, and let's see here. Can somebody roll a d10 for me?
I rolled the last one, so somebody. Oh, nice one.
Oh wow, beautiful weather today.
Oh, nice.
You guys have had very very nice weather.
Yeah, it's been just bright, shiny days.
Yep. Where did I put that? So, you arrive back at the it was the Silver Silk Fine Goods, and you see the familiar after making your way through the the casually empty marketplace, and you see the familiar form of the tall orcish woman standing outside.
Just so you know, I think Foster would interact here. However, he's currently unavailable.
Where did he go?
We have an uncle who has a computer to fix that showed up.
Oh, I wish Foster had said that he was just randomly leaving in the session. Is he going to be back?
At some point, probably.
Okay. All right. Well, let it be known. I gave Krios some opportunities here. And she kind of grunts as you guys walk by and enter the shop. You guys, are of course carrying the chest. She eyes that, and I mean, like who moves up to the front and does all the talking? Who says things? That sort of thing. Like you don't see Lurin standing behind the counter when you enter.
I'll ask the big orcish woman. Where's Mr. Azursilk?
The back.
Ah. So, heading back there, I'll call out to him. Learn, Azursilk. We have something for you.
Oh, yeah. Hold it 1 second. You hear some like probably boxes being set down. He says, 1 second, and he starts padding out of a hallway, and he's like rubbing his hands with a cloth. Oh, my friends, you've come back. Is that chest? Is that the ore?
We believe it
I
is
do
good, sir.
hope so.
Yeah, he his face is definitely like brightened, and he walks around the counter, and he says, I didn't expect you to be back the next day with. I can't believe it. And he goes to the box, and he I assume one of you opens it up, and he says, this is it. He picks up one of the rocks. He says, of course not usable in its current form, but I have a friend who can make this work. He places it back down after like examining a few more of the rocks, and he kind of pads his hands back off on his apron, and he looks up at like a big smile and he says, "Wherever did you find it? This is most surprising."
It had been taken by some ruffians, not too terribly far off the.
Was
off the
there
road to the
trouble?
east. Oh, not much.
Well,
I won't bore you with the details. We have your silver,
But
and
this-
we should be
Look, that
rewarded.
partic-
I'm
I do
sure.
not believe that particular band of ruffians will be bothering you again.
oh well.
Yes,
How
they've learned their
unfortunate.
lesson.
Well,
Regan,
it's good that you
agrees that that's an unfortunate statement. I'll just kind of nod my head and look in sympathy at that.
It's good that you're all okay. He looks to each of you to like make sure that like nobody's missing a hand or something. He said, I would feel horrible if any of you had been seriously hurt in getting this back. So
I
it's
raise
not,
up my
not
stuff.
worth
They
a man's
took
life.
My hand.
Like he laughs. It's like, you sir, you were missing that before. It's good that you can jest though. Says, well, I don't know what to think. So yes, we agreed. 400 coin. Why don't you pick that up and bring it into the back, and we'll get you paid. Turin. Like he yells to the front, and like she like leans back in with a sigh. Turin, can you please watch the shop? I have to pay these fine people. They brought back the silver. And she kind of quirks an eyebrow. Yes, they did. Very, very nicely done. Follow me. And he leads you into the back. I assume Krios carries one end, and probably Padine, you carry the other.
I'm fairly
heading back
certain
there.
if Krios was not otherwise busy, he would be hitting on said orc woman.
Yeah. So, you go into the back,
now as
and
well-
he. Oh yeah, go ahead.
As well as the reward, I was hoping you might have some information as well. Now that we've retrieved the silver for you, we'd like to help the town some more. We've heard
Oh, really?
rumors of some human sacrifices out in the town of
Human sacrifices. Who would
Oh,
sacrifice humans?
You haven't heard of this?
He shakes his head. He says, "That's horrid."
What about to the south? There's word that a witch might be living down there and causing some problems.
His eyes widen, and he just kind of laughs. He says, "My, you pay attention to all sorts of rumors. Did you hear about the one the dragon living in the sewers?"
Wow. So these are unfounded rumors, at least to your knowledge.
Oh, I would have no idea. I wouldn't say that I don't get out too much, but I haven't traded in banter with those sorts of considerations. No.
Regan speaks up and says that if a dragon prefers to stay in the sewers, perhaps it is best to be left alone in the sewers.
You are quite right, my friend. He
It
laughs.
must be a very small dragon. I mean, or very long and thin, perhaps.
Or very large sewers.
I cannot vouch for having seen the sewers of our head, so...
Well, I mean, it would be hard. We don't have sewers. not
Quite-
not the
quite a
sort that
very
you would care
small
to
dragon
venture
then,
into.
huh?
Yes. As I said, rumor.
Perhaps merely the dragon's tail.
So like he leads you into the back, and this time instead of bringing the chest into the warehouse, he has you go down this hallway. And there's like a smaller storeroom across from what is obviously like his little workshop area. And he has you set the chest down in the storeroom. He makes sure like everything's accounted for, and he kind of generalizes like, oh yes, this is definitely all of the ore that I wanted. Thank you. He secures the chest and locks it with a lock. He says, yes, come with me, and he leads you across the hall into his workshop, which is also doubles as his office, and they're like on a desk across from his workbench and stuff. You see like a small why is the word not coming to me? It's not a safe, it's a lockbox. And yeah, he goes and he pulls out a key from his pocket, and he begins to unlock it. And he says, "So you are interested in rumors and such, I assume, for work. You said you wanted to aid the town."
Yes, something with more substance though than dragons in the sewers and witches on the road. If there's nothing really to that you can.
Well, I mean, there certainly
offer.
could be a witch down to the south, but I wouldn't know anything about it. I do know that the merchants, and he's opening it up, and as he's doing it, he's pulling out a bag of coin, and like he starts scooping some coins out of the thing, and this process is happening as he's counting it. He says, well, I do know from some of my friends in the market, and this has been going on for some time, that there have been problems plaguing the roads to the north. It's no secret that the area around the barony itself has some problems with civil unrest, if you may, bandits and the like. They're not terribly brazen,
What barony doesn't?
but the road to the north specifically. We've had few travelers coming from there in recent times, and several people have reported they were expecting people from that end. And we've reported messages
We've
from.
heard rumors of some type of monstrous creature that's supposedly intercepting them, maybe?
I'm not sure about that. I believe I may have heard something about that the last time I was at the tavern. I'm not aware of the state of things. I believe the watch was sent out to look for them once after it became apparent that there was a problem, and they found some bodies. I'm not aware of the state. I just know that there's a problem with the northern roads. If you seek further information, perhaps one of the head members of the watch, although there's he looks up, he's like, there's few of the watch actually left in Arnhem. Everything else has been deployed elsewhere. Could potentially help you out. I know the merchants themselves in the square. There's several I could potentially point you out to that might be able to give you some more information.
Oh, that'd be most helpful.
Might the Baron himself know any information about this?
The Baron. You say that in I think you probably had noticed this on the wall, like hanging from a peg. And when you say the Baron, like his eyes kind of go to it just very, very briefly. There is a silver mask on the wall. It looks to be it's unfinished. It's like a full face mask. And it seems to be like a work in progress. And I think like you pick up on this, Padine, just because you're so, so keenly aware of people. He kind of looks at it for just a second when you mention it. He says, well, I'm sure the Baron might have some information about it. To be honest, the Baron is a very reclusive person. He hardly leaves the keep, and doesn't take a very active role in the town. I've only met him twice.
Oh. Well, maybe we will meet with him and discuss the matter, see if he has any information as well, or any other things that are plaguing or harming the town in some ways. I know business isn't as well as it could be here.
He looks a little bit apologetic. He says it may be difficult to meet with the Baron. He does not take visitors to the keep normally, and he does not often tread to the town.
That will not be a
we
problem,
shall see.
my friend.
Oh, he looks to Telemon.
He has deigned to invite me there recently, though I have not yet taken him up on the offer.
Really? He looks very intrigued by this. That's most unusual. Although
Indeed.
you have claimed to me that you are Telemon the Red. This could explain some things. I know little about the Baron's personal interests, but a personage such as you may have drawn his attention.
Yes, so it would seem.
Well, he says, for a job well done, he hands you, I think probably the coin is divided up into 2 bags, just so you don't have everything in one giant sack. Says, as promised, 400 coin. I'm sorry to hear that you found some trouble on the road, but I am very happy to note that everyone made it out okay on your end.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
just
thank you.
minimal injuries through our side. We will. You said there were these other merchants we could look into about rumors to the north?
Yes. Let me think. Who might have dealings to the north?
This is a really random question, just trying to figure something out.
Mhm.
How like common is literacy in this world? Is it medieval era, or is it more like everybody can read?
It's more common than like medieval times, but like fluent literacy is not very common. Like people can read things like when you're going to a tavern, and most people can read simple words in common. In heavier populated areas, people can usually fully read. I would say it's hard to pin down a percentage of the population. Like country folk, probably maybe 1 or 2 people in a village might be able to read fluently. A couple people might be able to make out
There's good
words.
reason why your typical tavern has a very descriptive name, so that it can be
Yeah.
done into a portrayed image, and thus
Yeah.
if they go to the Maiden's Head Tavern, there's obviously a Maiden's Head as part of the sign.
So like there are definitely places of high learning in the world, but it's not as just know that it's not as bad as the Dark Ages.
Okay, so it's not just priests and the elite that can read. Okay, that's good to know.
I'm currently generating some merchants. Well, I think Casman, he operates a stall to the northern part of the market. He gets a lot of his wares from the the cities to the north. He tends to deal in trade goods of all sorts, and he's been able to make something of a steady living from importing from farther regions. He might know some details about the farther northern roads.
What was his name again?
Casman. He's what is he? I generated it. Now I don't see it.
What
Oh.
wares does he sell?
He sells general like trade goods and stuff like that. Like he sells like
He deals in commodities.
yeah, like bolts of silk, like just like what you would see at a general store, I guess. He brings things in from farther away, like higher quality baskets or furniture or things like that. The occasional sword. He's probably not like an actual weapons merchant or anything like that. He deals with what he can find and make a profit on when he travels. Casman is actually a lizard folk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he also refers you to Davrug, an orc who deals in wood, and he doesn't know Davrug very well, but he knows that he gets most of his lumber from the northern sections of the barony, and he probably would have reason to know about the roads as well. There's certainly other people who use the roads, but he's giving you two personal names that he feels confident would
Gotcha.
talk to you.
Those have been most helpful. Sure to consult them about the matter.
Alrighty. Who takes the bags of silver? I'm pretty much maxed out on weight.
Yeah, so let me look.
I have plenty of weight.
100 coin we're treating kind of loosely as one weight. Again, it's not specified, but there is like a specific loot thing that's like a small box worth of 100 coin is one weight, so it gives me sort of an idea.
I can carry it all for now if you want to split it up later when we get back.
Alrighty.
Was there anything else you wanted to do? I know, like, I think he notices the sword on your side. Telemon, and he says, did you have a sword the last time you were in here? I don't recall seeing that.
I do not believe I did. This particular sword was more recent acquisition, though I do fancy myself quite skilled with them.
Unusual to hear of a mage with a sword. Is it to your liking? I mentioned because I noticed one of your companions noticing the swords on the wall before, and I don't have more coin to give you, but you've been very, very helpful and very prompt. I feel as if I could give you a deal on purchasing a sword if you were looking for something else.
Perhaps. I forget what type of sword was described as. I can probably see it on the wall.
Mithril?
Yeah, Mithril, what kind of sword is it?
It's like a mithril saber.
Perhaps. It does look to be quite a beautiful blade.
Yes, very light. Only have 3 of them from my father's time, but I would be willing to part with it for people who have gone out of their way to help me so honestly.
Perhaps I would be interested in such a weapon.
By perhaps, there you
That depends. How much would you like for it?
Let's see here.
401 coin.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't do that to you.
Very shrewd salesman, and I see.
So, a typical. This is closest to a longsword. A typical longsword is close, +1 damage, and is 2 weight. Like you're kind of like using it, kind of moving it with your hand and stuff. It's very light. It would basically be the same thing, but 1 weight. I'm thinking it would be 115 coin.
It is a very fine blade, and perhaps I will buy it on another time. But I have other engagements to pay with the current allotment of gold.
Yeah, very, very well. It's not going anywhere. It's hung in the shop for years.
It is quite a beautiful
You-
decoration, though.
You, of course, know the special properties of mithril, so I'm sure one such as you can appreciate its value.
Indeed. The extremely low weight, but it maintains all the effectiveness of a normal sword. Yet it also is quite beautiful to look upon.
Well, not only that, but you never need to sharpen it, and it's said, and I'm certainly not one to know this for sure, but it's said to affect some creatures differently than others. So yes, it'll be here. I felt I would extend you the offer. He gives you a look and he's like, that appears to be a well-made sword, but I wanted to make sure that you were taken care of.
I do believe I will return at a future time, and we will discuss this further.
All right, very well. So you guys leave with your coin, laden with the goods of civilization.
And unfortunately, Foster is still busy, which is sad because I would like to have seen that conversation.
Yeah. There was a side thing that we'll have to work in. Yeah.
Can we say he got distracted for the time being? And
Well, I mean, it was something. You weren't going to be the only person that he was going to mention something about a sword to. So yeah, you guys leave. What do you do?
I would vote that we would take up an audience with the Baron.
That would be in the evening, though. It's still quite early.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Well,
Regan
before
will.
the-
I do believe the
Well,
note said a night of fine dining, yes?
let's not just sup at any time, huh?
Regan will say perhaps he can pick up some supplies for our further travels while we're out and out of his share.
How do you all look from your travels upon the road?
Well,
Dusty.
I'm
I can look quite clean, actually, with prestidigitation. Would you like me to roll it?
Oh yes, you can. I think it probably occurs to you, Padine, since you've been at several courts, that
We need
perhaps
to get some clothes.
perhaps it would be insulting to at least some patrons to show up in essentially brigand garb.
Yes.
You don't
Yes,
necessarily need new clothes, but
Perhaps seeing Kazman, the general store merchant, we can get 2 birds with 1 stone, as it were.
He may have such
by
things,
getting-
but I would think there's a fine clothier somewhere in town.
Probably. Regan, what kind of supplies do you need?
I will go ahead and split up the gold, by the way. I have 100 each.
I threw it in my
Yeah.
inventory.
Assuming everybody has enough weight to hold 100 gold.
I will take less than 100. So I will take,
If you take 99, the GM will strike you dead.
Crap. Well, then I will take 50. How's that? Does GM keep me alive?
God.
I'm at max weight, so
How are you at max? What are you carrying?
my leather armor, which when I level, that will go away, so I can have more weight there. My bow, my arrows, 2 weight of arrows.
Two bundles of arrows, adventuring gear,
the rations,
dungeon.
the rapier,
Good God.
and
Like
the poultices and herbs, which I'm
this is. I
thinking
mean, like.
about getting rid of those too.
Yeah, I will say
You're
a lot of this is
walking-
stuff that you can probably leave at your house
you're
when
walking
you're
around town,
walking
armed
around
to the
town.
teeth at the moment.
Well, no, but when I do get loaded up, I'm then gonna have to leave. I guess I could have like a little lockbox back at the.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Right.
thing. Like, how are you
Okay,
going to store things without that? Like,
Little footlocker or something back at
yeah,
back at the guild hall in my room.
yeah. I mean that's what other people are doing already.
Alrighty, I'll take my 100. I'll just walk slowly. I don't think we're gonna get in combat.
Yeah,
During-
yeah.
during
Like,
the
I mean,
town,
like,
hopefully.
there's not a big penalty or anything.
How much is it for 5 dungeon rations?
One weight.
Coin.
That's coin.
It's also
3.
mentioning Regan. If you wanted to, if you had 5 spaces left over, there's still 5 rations that have been unaccounted for from our previous journey.
Oh, there have been. Okay,
Yeah.
might not even need to buy any. Then I'll just factor
I'll
it over
just
there.
I'll heavily encourage you guys to have like a bare essentials section, like maybe on your left, and a things that I can set to 0 when I am in town sort of thing, and consider those left at your villa. Like things you have to have at all times, like maybe your armor and your sword or something like that. I'll also consider changing the gold, but I might up the efficiency of gold, but I'm not going to take away the weight completely. It's just like you're not meant to be carrying
The weight
sacks
is
of
there
gold with
for
you at
good
all
reason.
time.
Like if you counter a dragon's horde, you obviously
Yeah.
can't carry it with you.
Yeah, I might. Coin is very heavy. I think I'm going to keep it at 100. It's just like you're encouraged to either leave it in a safe place, i.e., like a safety deposit box at a bank, or in like some sort of lock box at your villa, or convert it to gems. So coin is definitely cumbersome. Like most people do not like 150 coin is like more than most people like interact with in an entire year in this game.
Out of curiosity, how much would it be to refill torches, if that's possible?
Torches, those are part of your dungeon adventuring gear.
Can I
Adventuring
buy
gear-
one charge of adventuring gear to just like refill the torches? How would that work? Because I'm gonna carry like a 1 weight thing.
Are
for
you
2
a
torches.
4 of 5?
Right
how
now,
much?
these are torches I've had from before. I have a 2 of 5 bundle. It's taking up 1 weight. I was either going to throw them out or refill them to 5 of 5. That was my question.
How do you have 5 torches?
From back in the
A torch is considered one use of your dungeon or your adventuring gear. You would have had to use an entire adventuring gear to get 5 torches.
Oh, I thought we got a bundle of torches when we used the adventuring gear.
Well, like the thing is, how do you reconcile adventuring gear with like a bunch of things in it weighing only 1 weight if you have like a stack of torches?
I think
Like
when
it's
when I-
feasible to pull one. It's adventuring gear is a pack that you have on your back that could carry like up to 5 torches, or like a torch and a lantern and a rope and something else and something else. Like it's
I was under the
5
impression
objects.
That like if you pulled torches out of a adventuring gear, they're a bundle of 3, because torches aren't worth very
Does
much.
it say that?
I thought there was-
I've heard it that way before. Like
I
remember,
was sure.
Where did you hear that?
I'm
I'm
pretty
pretty
sure that's
sure
the way
that-
they did it on, at least on.
Well, remember the
Like,
way they
but-
did it on roleplay was not
But also,
the official
I,
way to play Dungeon World.
I can't
remember
see
that from my
5
first
torches being
adventure
worth
too,
20
man.
gold. So
I'm pretty sure the first time we did it, we pulled the torches out of the adventuring gear. You gave us a bundle of torches. I was pretty sure that's.
I'm going to say I'm looking at dungeon gear. Adventuring gear. Adventuring gear is a collection of useful mundane items such as chalk, poles, spikes, ropes, etc. When you rummage through your adventuring gear for some useful mundane item, you find what you need and mark off a use. It has 5 uses, it's worth 20 coin, and it is worth 1 weight.
I swear, I mean, that is totally okay to play it. It makes complete sense to me. I just
If
swear to
you-
God, at one point you told us that
You
it
can
was a
say
bundle.
that, but the thing is, you guys ambushed me with. I'm pulling stuff out right now, and I'll say okay, and I might not hear you entirely, or I might be really busy with something else, and you might say bundle of torches, and I'll just I'll be calculating a dragon's stats, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, that sounds fine. Um, yeah. So I mean, this is how it's supposed to go. Like you pull a torch from your adventuring gear. Like adventuring gear is a backpack you carry on your back, with enough space for 5 random adventuring items that you may want to acquire.
Well, I mean, I'm totally fine playing it like that going forwards. Absolutely, I can.
What if he wanted to do specifically a bundle of torches? Then.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, I would ask you how much is in a bundle of torches. 1 to 5. You can pull out 5 torches, and then it'll expend your entire use of adventuring gear. Like it literally, I'm looking at it. It says some useful mundane item. Like, I think it makes sense that you're pulling one.
To specifically get something. Is that your question, Regan?
No.
No. My question, I mean, basically all it comes down to is
He's wanting to get multiple of the same item when he pulls something out, and that's.
So, I'm pretty sure that several of us have done it that way since.
The way I see it, it's a cost evaluation more than a can it fit in this bag evaluation. Like if you pick up something that's renewable, like say like crampons or a pickaxe or something like that, you could theoretically use multiple times. That's different than if you would pay. I figure when you pull torches, because they're expendable, you get a bundle of them because the contents of the bag need to be worth about 20 gold.
Just I'm not arguing for it to be played that way at all. I don't want it to come off that way. I just was saying the only reason I was doing it that way is I'm 99.9% positive when we were first told about how torches work with adventuring gear, we were told you pulled a bundle. So
there is
I
no
think that was,
torch in the game. It is part of adventuring gear. It's just like some random thing. There are no rules for torches. So when you're 99% sure that it happened, it probably happened. It's just that you asked, and I was not looking specifically at adventuring gear and how it was supposed to work.
This was like our very first session ever.
Yeah.
When we made this ruling. So I'm more than cool changing it. I was just apologizing for running it like this since then. That was like literally our first sessions when I think this went down. When this
like a torch is supposed to last you several hours.
That's why we've been passing. Like in the last adventure, for example, we've been passing torches left and right, and we had bundles of torches on us. So we were like, "Oh, here's a torch. Here's a torch." I happened a bunch on the island. And that's the reason, because we were pulling bundles of them.
If Krios wasn't here, I wouldn't be allowing this segue so deep. But like to touch on Cloud's point, in regards to like it needs to be worth a certain amount. Well, what if you just pull 5 things that are obviously worth 1 coin out? Then like, would you have more than 5 uses in your adventuring gear? No. It's supposed to cover like your potential maximum cost there, and I think if I say bundle of torches is an item, it's going to be like 2 or 3. I don't know that I should even allow that, because like torches like I don't see how you would fit that in there with a bunch of other gear. Like it's like because the way I've heard Dungeon World play before is I pull out a torch, that person loses the torch a couple hours later, and like a slime, okay, you want another torch, pull it out of your backpack. Mark down another use of your adventuring gear. You guys haven't really had to refill your adventuring gear a whole lot. I'm gonna say, like, just as a clear-cut ruling, it's an item. If it's meant to be a set, like climbing hooks, I'm not gonna say like one climbing hook is one item and then one other climbing hook is another item, but like just bundling multiple things for reuses, I'm not gonna say that those count.
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind changing it whatsoever. I can definitely. I'll mark
I
down
think
that I
that's a
have
little bit
torch
more in
instead.
keeping with the rules, and I think it'll. To be honest, I've let people run a little wild with inventory occasionally. I'm still not going to be inventory Nazi, but I am going to tamp down on this a little bit.
I'm totally gonna have to probably. I totally want to listen to our first session again. I know that
that's
came
probably.
up way back in the day.
I bet you're right, but that doesn't mean that it was correct.
No, I think changing it's completely cool. I'm 100% behind changing it. No problems here from me. I don't want to give the impression I was fighting to keep it like it was. I think it makes sense doing it this way.
Okay, so now that we've spent 20 minutes talking about torches, what are we
Sorry
doing?
about that.
Or I think we need to go see Kazman first and get whatever sundry items you need from him, and then we go weather shopping.
We can talk to him while we're here. I do believe there are some goblins that need paid up at the villa. Theoretically, goblins need given jobs too, but
True.
All right, so you make your way to Kazman. Like you ask around the market and are directed in his to his section of the market square. He's situated beneath like a big four-post sort of open tent. Several tables with some wares, several crates and stuff open, but you see some bolts of cloth of various sorts. One table has some very simple weaponry like laid across it. And there's like I think like a wardrobe out here. It's not like open or anything. It's like it's a piece of furniture, but like it looks like it might be here for a selection of clothing or something. And yeah, you see this yellow skinned lizard folk out here. He's humanoid, bipedal, but he's very obviously of lizard descent, and he's got a snout and everything.
I greet
He's
him
got
in his native tongue.
Oh, so you speak lizard folk?
Some. Probably
Okay.
some greetings and such.
All right, so yeah, you you approach and you give him I think it sounds a little odd to everybody else because there's like a lot of it's not hissing, but there's definitely some odd sounds that normally are not used in common, and he looks surprised. He's dressed in some not ultra fancy robes, but like nice quality, well made merchant robes, and he looks surprised and he holds out a hand, like kind of just a hand up, and he says, "Greetings, traveler. It is most unusual to find someone who knows knowledge of my tongue from these parts."
Oh yes, I know a little. I've heard that you've done some dealings to the north that have gone awry. Do you have any information about what's happening on the northern road?
Oh well, my business has not gone awry. Most certainly, we are very profitable here at Kazman's Trades.
Ah, good. Any truth to problems on the northern road that you might know about, though?
Well, yes. He looks between the three of you, and it realizes like maybe you're not here for shopping, but he, you greeted him well enough, so he's willing to give you the time of day, and he says, There have been some problems, I suppose. Disappearances, as you would say. Not 2 weeks ago, there was supposed to be a caravan coming from the north, and no one showed. It is my understanding that there have been several such disappearances, but however, sometimes they make it through. No one reports seeing anything.
Quite odd.
It is my understanding that the guard has been sent up there, and they have found bodies, but little else.
Okay. Did anybody need to buy anything here? Can't remember. Did Regan need adventuring gear?
Regan's going to take a look for a second and say, I do not believe I need anything else at this moment. However, I do need perhaps a new robe, and I'll point to the fact that the bottom half of mine up to about the knees is probably singed off with fire.
Yeah.
Something simple, though. I do
This
not,
is all
I do not
that is
want
most-
extravagance.
Most unfortunate. Do you have specific material and color in mind?
Regan will pause for a moment and say, yes, dark gray, if perhaps possible. No, his looks brown, but if the clothier looks at it closer, the
What's-
brown color is just from dirt being ground in it over the years.
What sort of material robe are you currently wearing? Like linen?
No, I'd say it's more like a thicker cloth.
Like heavy
like a
wool?
not even heavy
Woolen?
wool, just a rough cloth, like a rough peasant cloth.
Burlap?
Almost. Nothing fancy, just about burlap, just something about
Okay.
similar little under burlap.
He
Very-
he looks a little disappointed that you're not going for something expensive, but he says, "I can most certainly help you out, sir. Why don't you pick something out from here?" And he leads you over to the wardrobe and he opens it up. You're able to find something of what you seek.
Regan's robe actually looks like a different color now. It's just
Would he be
clean.
one to carry leather armor, or do I have to see like an actual like armor person for that?
You don't see anything here for that.
Okay.
I think that would be 2 coin, Regan, for the robe
Oh,
and
that sounds reasonable.
associated belt. Did you guys like? I want to just remind you in case you're forgetting. You guys seem to forget some of these things. You picked up a couple daggers, short sword. Were you guys keeping those, or were you gonna sell them?
We do indeed have a quote unquote a couple daggers. I assume that's probably 2.
A couple generally does mean 2 in most instances.
Okay,
Do
to
you
make sure
think
though.
we might need guard at the guild hall eventually, though. Might need
This
to
is
arm
true.
them.
We could keep
If
them
that-
there
if-
you like.
I mean, that's a very interesting point to make. I'm glad you thought of it. If you want to arm people, that's certainly something else. You wouldn't have to buy it. It's less expensive to keep the weapons than it would be to buy them. If you would wish to retain them. I was just making sure that you guys don't forget you have them and then never sell them.
I have them written down.
So, let's see here. You ask him, like you inquire about like where might I find someone to fit me with some armor.
Yeah, some leather armor in particular. I don't know if it's separate places in this world, or because I imagine a smith would have iron, but it'd be like a leather worker or something for his leather.
Yeah. He says, looking for leather. Well,
Indeed.
yes.
Ideally something to wear beneath these, because as you see, these are wonderful and all, but they aren't going to do much to stop a blade.
Tragy has a leather and tannery on the eastern side of town. She is renowned for getting the right fit. I believe the village armorers go to her for getting their underplating. If you wish leather, she would be the one to go seek, in my opinion.
That would indeed be nice. But I thank you for the information.
You are most welcome.
What about a clothier? Any good suggestion for that in the area?
Well, Zorbin, he is an elf up on the upper end of town, closer towards the keep. Is certainly the most expensive. You could see Yaswal as well. He provides some of the more middle class clothes for the town.
Okay. Probably looking for more middle classish, I guess. I don't want to come off as ostentatious.
All right, so yeah, he gives you directions. And like I assume you guys basically split up to go do your things, unless anybody wants to specifically play these out. And specifically, if somebody's looking for something rather unusual, we'll just say you can just tell me what you want, and we'll get that sorted.
I'm after a set of leather armor, though I don't intend to wear it to said event.
Okay.
I'm looking for something in the second picture I sent, more so.
All right, I'll look in a second. Leather armor will be 10 coin.
Okay.
It is 1 armor and 1 weight.
Alright, I will spend that now. Everybody took their 100 coin, right? So I can go ahead and split that up in my inventory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. You could probably find something like that at is it Yasbin's? Yalwin's? What did I say his name was? I have it written down.
The name
Yasbin's.
you gave me Zorbin and Yazwal.
Yazwal.
Alrighty. How much would that run me?
For the reference of what's been spouted so far, I'm going to go ahead and post. Oh, I missed the C, but it's Casman on the lizard folk.
Do we need wood at the hall for anything? Fires and such?
I think since you guys live on the edge of the settlement,
Creoles can chop down trees.
Creoles can probably chop down trees. I don't think you guys need to pay for wood at this juncture. Like if you guys are ramping up to like produce things, like if you're turning it into like a plantation or something like that, then yes. But so it was 2 coins for those shitty ass robes that Regan wanted. I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be in the realm of. Let me look at one last thing.
How much do you want to charge me for the robes I already obtained?
6 coin. For the clothes. For your robes.
Yeah, you said I already got them, but I never paid for them, and I probably need to.
Yeah. In your picture, probably. Now you say stylish. Those don't actually look like particularly stylish to me.
Oh, really?
Like I don't see like a whole lot of fancy stitch working there.
They have like patterning across the sides and back.
Maybe it's just a low resolution image that I saw. Probably. Probably 5 coins. A lot of material. Less work than involved in Padin's clothes, but like a lot of material.
All right. Pay it.
Do we have any ETA on if Foster will be returning sometime today?
It's a computer that needs serious amounts of updates done to it, so Probably not, I would say.
Okay, all right. So we will proceed under the assumption that he will not be attending. That is, wow. All right, that's really unfortunate. So you guys have all got your stuff geared up.
Out of
You,
curiosity, about going back to the literacy question,
Uh-huh.
is there any kind of a bookstore in town that would perhaps
Most definitely.
sell a book, I guess, for small children to learn to read?
Yes, most definitely.
How much would that cost? I would definitely like to purchase one of those.
A coin.
Wow, that's super than I expected it to be. Okay, I'm definitely, I'll be giving that to Krios later when he finally does return.
When he finds out it was a coin's worth, he'll say, "Why didn't you buy me woman instead?"
God knows what it'll do to the book.
Bump it to 2 coins.
I'm gonna go ahead and put
That sounds
Krios'
good.
coin on his sheet because he hasn't yet.
So were you guys heading? I know what we can do. Were you guys heading back to the villa to deposit some things and get changed and prepared, and maybe talk about like what your plans were for tonight?
I believe so. Though, I personally don't want to go to the event without Krios because I know he's gonna be like riled to go there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, are we ending the session then? I mean, like, if you don't want to go, that's fine. But like, if you guys want to do something else, you're gonna have to tell me.
What I miss? Just wait
Uh,
45 seconds.
Well, you guys are returning to the villa. I was going to the plan was going to be like you guys going back there and talking about what you might want to do to get ready for the party. It doesn't sound like you guys are actually going to the party now.
Oh. Why
Yeah, Telemon doesn't want to go without Krios. To be honest, it's a massive inconvenience for me. I had some things prepped. So what would you guys do if not going there?
Well, I have some goblins to interact with and maybe like pay for jobs and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah. We need to get them sorted out.
I don't know if Sarcasmus has any recommendations for that. I would prefer to do that after said Captain Nora was gone, though. But he wanted to ship before he could leave, I think, unless we just run him out.
Yeah. I would tell Telemon that how many should we hire?
I don't know. That depends what they all can do. I'm sure there's probably some among their lot that have useful jobs. They did fix that ship up, Or right? There was
What
a
I
ship,
understand though is they did have one. There were 2 crews. One is slightly larger than the other, and the larger crew is captained by Captain Nor, and the smaller one by Captain Fleta, the female goblin. I would probably be more apt to take the smaller crew if they're willing to stay, which I'm pretty sure they would.
It does seem to be the case. So from what I've heard about, but I don't particularly want. I don't mind giving them jobs if they want to actually do some jobs and actually do the work they're paid for. But I prefer to have the ones that are going to leave before we do such a thing.
Yes.
Regan suggests that perhaps we should promote Sarcasmos, give him the coin, and just simply throw the other 2 on the street if they do not want to play calmly.
I'll make him kind of manager of the guild hall, as it were.
Regan says that I believe I would trust him more than either of those 2.
He would probably more often, though, come with us when we adventure than stay behind to manage the guild hall. So we would probably need to hire an assistant.
Though I am going to give Sarcasmus some coin, by the way, GM, because he needs some too. He was there. He did help.
I think that makes sense.
Even an apprentice needs spending money.
So, all right, we'll just you guys return to the villa, and do you see like you're having this conversation, like you've just had this conversation. You're talking about like what should we do, How can we get Nor out? And you see a horde of goblins gathered outside of the front, like in the front yard.
Are they setting fire to the place?
No. They
Okay.
seem to be all gathered around, and because you're taller than them, you can definitely more easily see. And there seems to be some sort of scuffle, inside. Like they formed a crude ring, like not. It doesn't look like they've intentionally formed a ring. It's just like a bunch of goblins have gathered about, and there seems to be like a scuffle going on in the middle, like right outside the front door.
We should go see what
I'll
that's
call
about.
out. I'll be calling out as I'm coming closer. Stop this! Stop this at once! What are you doing?
A couple of the goblins in the back of the crowd like back up and they look at you like with wide eyes and they scurry off making way. And you like you hear like the sound of a fist hitting something, and like a whoomp, and like you're basically forced to kind of push your way through the goblin crowd, although it's not very hard because one, they're small, and two, as soon as they realize that like big people are coming through, they start to scatter fairly quickly. And
Who are the combatants?
so uh standing up, hatless, is one Captain Nor, and like he's like currently kind of rotating his arm, and he spits onto the ground, and looks like maybe he's got like a little blood coming from his lip, not a lot, and on the ground. Also hatless is Sarcasmos, and he's like he's on his back, and he's like, and he's like kind of struggling to get to his feet out of the dirt.
Has Captain Norris stopped, or is he still coming after Sarcasmus?
He's stopped. Like he's standing up. It looks like he's loosening his arm after like it's very clear that he just decked Sarcasmos. By look of Sarcasmos' face, it looks like he's probably been hit more than once.
What is the meaning of this? What happened here?
Ah, you. Uh, Nor turns and he says, nothing at all. Just taking care of a little insubordination.
Well, this is a guild hall, not a brawling ring. It should be handled inside. What if we had people coming to hire us?
You would rather us fight indoors?
No,
Very
I
well.
would not fight
Fight at
indoors.
all.
I would rather there not be any fighting. Last I checked, what insubordination is there? You don't even have a ship anymore, and you don't own this house.
He just looks at you like flustered. He's like, "Look, this is my crew." And like while this is happening, he's turned to you, and Sarcasmos has kind of like wobbling, got like pushed himself to a standing position. Dirt all over his nice purple robes.
Regan's tongue will slightly extend a little more than it should as he darts slightly out as he tells him to silence, and then he's going to turn to Sarcasmos and ask him for what has occurred here.
Like they see your tongue, and like several goblins scurry away. Like a little goblin like runs screaming into the house, and Nor like backs up. Obviously, like you've like there's a moment where it's obvious that he's remembering your death threat from before, unspecified death threat, and he pauses and he stops and he's like looking up at you, and it's clear that he's calculating like, does he want to stand up to this crazy guy who can summon the dead? And Sarcasmos, he's kind of wincing a little bit, and he looks back to you, and then Telemon to Nor, and he says, "We were having a disagreement about what should be done here at the villa. And I told Nor he could shove it." And Nor like turns back to him, and he says, Sarcasmos, I'll have no further more of your insolence. And he raises his hand, and Sarcasmos like winces a little bit, but he doesn't like flee.
I stop him from hitting Sarcasmos.
I
Like-
will cast Holdson, actually, if he's going to come at him with violence.
All right. So give me a spell roll.
Occurs to me, Nor, that you no longer have a ship. Until you have a
Take
ship,
-1
you
on
technically no longer have a crew.
Yeah, so Nor like freezes with his hand like over his head, and Sarcasmos is like in the process of wincing, and the fist is like frozen in midair, and he's like looking around. Telemon, you say that, and obviously Nor can't respond. And
He can speak. It just holds him. He can speak.
does it
Does
say that?
yeah, it says that in the
Okay.
description.
Is this what? What
Otherwise,
foul
that's what I would've
magics is
done back
this?
at the camp.
What foul magics is this?
Well, this is the way it's going to be, Nor. You see him, and I point to Telemon. He is the master of this house. You have no authority here. Now, we are welcoming anyone who wants to stay here and can be paid to work. I think Telemon will give you the details of that option. But if you're going to give some kind of brutish justice here on his property, we will have nothing to do with that.
While you're in
Release
my
me
house,
at once!
everybody
Release
will
me
have
at
the
once!
same.
Release me at once! And he's just like, it's obviously that he's like attempting to
You will
flail,
be
but he
released
can't.
and not be harmed.
Release
First,
me
we
at
will
once!
have a
Release
discussion.
me at once! Release me at once! And he is literally like shouting this like
Oh
repeatedly.
god.
I don't
Think
suppose
I'm-
you have a spell to shut him up, do you?
Unfortunately not. We can go inside for a while and let him go hoarse, if that's what you want to do.
I know what I'm going to be doing. Regan's going to step in the back as all this is happening. He's going to reach into his bag of bones and artifacts and ever so discreetly close his hands around the Will of Kings.
Okay.
And I am going to look at Nor and say, you will admit everything you have ever done to hurt these people or screw them over, and then you will leave us, and you will not return.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Need to look up something real quick.
Does it use your definition of wrong or his?
I believe it would be his, because I would think anyway. I mean, that would be my guess.
No, nothing. I've done nothing wrong.
That's true. I'm sure there's a few times he's screwed people that he's not wanted to come to the light, at least. Things he wouldn't want to say.
How many goblins are still around?
Like the majority of them, although they're not like in this tight circle anymore.
Okay.
Um,
Have any of them tried to come to his aid at all? Have they started
well, I
to
was in the
come to his
process
aid?
of describing that Blun,
Oh, okay.
his first mate, was like,
Neck Neck.
was
Call
like,
him Neck Neck.
well, Neck is his cabin gob. Blun is his is the
Oh.
first mate.
Okay, that's right. The more
Blun
that's
is fairly big for a goblin. Blun's got like his hand on his dagger sheath, and he's looking like he's going to draw it, but he doesn't know like who he should draw it against or where. And he's looking very, very like protect the captain, but he doesn't know from what, and he looks very confused. Regan, you utter this, and you're specifically. You said that you're specifically looking at Nor. So can you give me your wording one last time?
I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think that what I said was
Confess everything you have done wrong to this crew.
everything you have everything you have done wrong to these. I think to these people, and I kind of motion like to the goblins when I'm saying that. I mean, I'm assuming that people counts for goblins since they're sentient and all.
So like the first thing that comes out of Nor's mouth, he stops like release me at once, and there's like a pause, and he's like, I threw Glang over the ship because he was a threat to my command, and I hung Oro, because he was an ass. And like he starts going on about like this laundry list of things, but like the three goblins behind him, who are also within Regan's like direct line of sight, also start saying things like, one of them's like, "I stole from Captain Nor's purse, and I threw his mother's amulet over the rail," and the other one was like, he's like, I. I I had an affair with Nura, even though she was Gurin's mate, and then like one of the goblins like turns around and like screams like what, like tackles them, um, and so like they like three or four goblins, including Nor, start going off on this list of things they have done that obviously has harmed like the crew in some way.
Oh God. I think it's gonna let him continue, I guess. And,
Just kind of
kind of look to the others.
Blund draws his dagger, and he says, "What is this wizardry? What have you done to them?" And like he's looking at Regan, because Regan had to say this out loud. And he's like, "What have you done?"
Sometimes in the presence of the divine, you must find yourself you find yourself
I do not think it's so much as a matter of what we have done, but it seems to be a matter of what they have done, as it were.
It's like, you're making him say all these things. How do we know it's true?
Regan says there's nothing but the truth in what is being said. Regan will say there's nothing but the truth in what is being said. And I'll look to the others and say that
you see that more than a handful of the goblins are definitely looking dubious at this. Like several of the goblins are looking like horrified at what the ones that are confessing to, but several of them are backing up and looking outright terrified of Regan, and also of Padine. And it's very clear that they're not sure what's going on, but they're sure that people are casting magic on other goblins and forcing them to do things. Sarcasmus is just standing there like bewildered, and he's like looking at this thing like what?
Was the other part of your Will of Kings thing to have him pack his stuff and leave? I thought I heard that.
we got him held yet, though. I think he's not able to even do that.
So whenever he finishes his list of sins, I will release him.
Okay, so like it takes like 45 minutes. And by the end it's gone from like rape to larceny to murder and like petty things like he stole somebody's pie.
A few times during that, I would ask the crew, do you believe he's done these things? Them to see if they're like, oh, this.
They're not.
Shit, or...
They're definitely not in the mood to answer you after you're like so willingly, keeping him under a spell.
They don't know anything about these things.
Oh, they may or may not, but they're not willing to talk to you.
Okay. I don't.
Like they're just like looking very distraught by this whole situation. And by the end of it, like he's like, and it's like his voice is raw, and his face is red.
And I will release him.
Okay, you release him, and he like falls to the ground, panting. Regan, what was your wording regarding leaving? I don't really recall that.
I said that you'll leave this place with no plan to return. No, when I released the Will of the Kings, you may decide that was a bad idea, but at least we'll see.
So he gets up and he glares at you. He says, "I don't know what horrible thing you have done to me. I am leaving, and we're gone." And he starts stalking off, and he reaches through the crowd and he grabs a chain and he starts tugging.
Thor?
Pleta with him.
You no longer
and
have a ship. Any who wish to go with you may, but I will not let you force anyone to go with you.
he's like, these are my crew, and they're coming with me. Before you can, I think before you can do anything, there you just hear, "Nar!" And you see Sarcasmo standing there with his staff like in one hand, and there's like a great wind starting to like whip around the courtyard, and like dust is spurting up, and like everybody turns to see Sarcasmo standing there. And it's like it's obvious that like during this time he had gone back in to get his staff, and he now has his hat on his head, and he's like, "You will be gone from this place, but you will not take Plata with you." And Dora says, "Damn you, Sarcasmos! She is not yours." And Sarcasmos just says, "I have had enough of you. You have pushed me around for 3.5 years. I am the apprentice of Telemon the Red, and I am a great wizard. You will fear me." And I think everybody sees a different little aspect of what transpires next. I think like the crowd is certainly backing up because like the wind is whipping around, although it's like it's not very tremendous. And his cloak is whipping around, and I think you you Telemon see him like reach. I think he Sarcasmos recoils like he's about to like cast a spell. But instead, like you don't detect. I think there's an ability for this that lets you know what another person is casting. You don't have that, but I think since this is your apprentice, I'm gonna let you kind of have it in relation to Sarcasmos sometimes. You know that he's not casting magic. Like you're looking at him, and like you don't detect any magic at all, and you see his hand slip into his sleeve as he kind of moves back, and then he puts his hand into his robe, and he flings it out, very similar to like how you've sometimes done fireball, and he yells sonic boom, and Regan, I think you notice, like, no, I think the next person to notice something is Padine. Padine, you see a glint fly through the air, like directly away from Sarcasmos's hand, and you have like a really perceptive eye, and you're seeing the situation slightly in slow motion.
He didn't just throw the vial of boom,
And
did he? No, he didn't.
And you see like something glittering through the air, and it looks like a marble. It's like a small glass sphere,
I
and it's
dive to the ground the other way.
it's tumbling through the air, and you see like I think everybody sees like Sarcasmo's face squunch up a little bit as he puts a hand in front of his face, like he's expecting something, and I think there is basically a small outshed like in the front yard, and it just explodes into like a million pieces, and there's this massive explosion. And like wood and shrapnel fly everywhere. And Regan, like you're watching this the entire time, and you see like Sarcasmos recoiling, and you see like the look of horror on all the goblins' faces, and as like this thunderous crack erupts like from across the courtyard. You could basically imagine like a tool shed being blown up by like 20 pounds of TNT. There's no like fire, but like it just explodes, and like a few seconds later, like bits are like raining down, and Regan, like you see that like uh, Sarcasmos is like kind of squinting from between his fingers, and then like all the goblins are like scurrying away, and like several of them have like covered their heads, and you notice that Nor has like a dark stain, um, like in the front of his trousers, and is just like looking terrified at Sarcasmos.
Does he do anything?
He just like he stares, and then he just runs.
He drops the chain, right?
Yeah, he drops the chain and he runs, and like Blun and Neck run with him, and they like just flee into the town. And you just hear and like fading off into the distance. And
Yeah,
like
when-
30 seconds later, there's still little bits of wood raining down.
Well, the D20
Okay.
server has died.
Really?
Mine, well, at least mine has. I don't have connection anymore.
I just reloaded. Let's see here. I still have mine.
Mine's working.
Yep. Regan, I got tests from him.
I'm still there.
Maybe just me.
If
Oh,
your
well.
internet was down, we wouldn't be able to hear you.
Yeah, he can still hear me, so
Yeah, I'm going to.
yeah, it's back now. It's kind of weird.
After that happens, I'll turn to smile at Sarcasmos very, very pleasantly with a grandfatherly smile that's just a little too thin, perhaps.
You definitely get the impression that he may not have known what precisely was going to be the effect of that. Like, I think especially you, Regan, and Telemon, you look at him and like he seems to be like trying to calm himself down, but you get the impression that like maybe he had never tested that before.
I look to the other goblins and I say, anybody else wishing to leave with him may be free to do so. I hope we part under better circumstances than that. But anybody who wants a job that we can pay and have a job for, you're welcome to stay here and sign up with Telemon.
I'll have it
So-
known, though, that anyone who wishes to stay, there will be no slavery or anything of that nature in this camp, in my guild. Everybody will be is expected to treat each other equally. Are we understood?
You see, like, the goblins who fled are like looking back out of the house through the windows or the doors. Some of them are like crawling out of the bushes. One of them's like hanging from a tree. Several of them are still on the grounds near you guys. Like, I think 3 of them crawl out of Telemon's robes.
Oh,
And,
that's impressive. I didn't know they were there.
Yeah, and like I think in all, like maybe 5 of them, like kind of kick the dirt and kind of trudge into town with their arms crossed. You notice that they're members of Nor's crew. You think,
Is fair? I imagine there.
but
is,
the vast majority
his
of the
upper
goblins
percentage.
actually surprisingly do not like make a mass exodus. And
Gladys stays.
yeah, the surprisingly curvaceous redheaded goblin, is standing
For
there
those of you who
looking
wish
a
to
little
stay,
bit pleased.
as it would seem, I'm willing to offer all of you jobs here at the guild hall. If we like, we can set up meetings, and we will discuss what skills and things you can offer.
Pleta, I guess, like kind of walks up to you. You can see she still has the chains on her wrist, and she says, and I think her arms are crossed, and she says, "What would you expect us to do?"
I don't know. It's curious to me. There are many things to be done about this guild hall. It depends on what all you can do.
And you'll feed us and not charge us for living here.
Living here, yeah.
Correct.
Room and board, as it were, will be available. I'm okay with paying for that kind of stuff. Any other further things you could offer? I'm sure. I understand that you built a rather small town before. I don't know if you have any carpenters, anybody who's good at cleaning house, anything of that nature. Perhaps some higher skills. Perhaps there are people who like to craft things of that nature. We always need people to. There's like a field on the area, right? Like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if any of you are farmers, gatherers, anything of that nature. Perhaps you know any skills you might have. These are things we might discuss, and you will be rewarded for doing so.
I'll
She's
pipe up from behind him and I'll say, and of course we will need somebody to kind of manage all of this, especially when we're gone. Do you have anybody in mind for that position?
Sarcasmos like steps up, and he says, "Pleta would be the best for the job. She would keep everybody safe and working and happy." And like he looks over at her and he just kind of like lets out a smile. Um, and like she's been studying you guys with narrowed eyes, like if she's like trying to determine if you're for real or not. And she looks at him, and she kind of like lets out a sigh. Uh, and she says, "I would do the job, although I would be I would be the one in charge of my job. I don't want any backwriting."
I'm willing to give you a certain amount of initiative, assuming that it does not run counter to the direction of the guild.
Regan will also step up and say that if there are any of you brave enough to perhaps. No, I'm not gonna go.
We're now accepting volunteers into Regan's Legion.
Yes, a cannon fodder as it were.
I seek to fight death. Who is with me?
We who are about to die salute you. And like 12 goblins in little plate mail just come out. And...
No, I'm going to say that I seek someone to watch the crypts for me. I keep my stuff there, and I would like to make sure that it stays
I think
where I left it.
I think an older goblin, a male, kind of comes up on a cane, and he looks up at you and he says, "I can tend to the crypts."
I will tell him that here's your first payment. We will discuss how much he would need whenever he would like, and I'm gonna give him 10 coin.
Yeah, he's like, "It was my duty to bury the dead every week on the island."
Riken smiles at that and says, "Perhaps you can assist me on runs
He's
around
wearing a
town
robe
someday."
kind of like similar to yours almost. Like you sense a kindred spirit.
One would
Except he
hope
might not
the
be
death
mad.
toll among our company here will be significantly lower than on the island, I would imagine.
Yes, hopefully.
This is yet to be seen, Sarcasmo says, like he's still grinning.
For any of you who wish to petition for work or jobs, or talk about skills and what you can offer, I will be available in the main hall for the remainder of the day.
All right, so yeah, the
We
goblins
can also
disperse.
suggest that we perhaps should talk about keeping the children away from the magical artifacts. Make sure that is an issue as well.
Yeah, like the goblins disperse, and I think Pleta, kind of comes up, chains kind of rattling, and she says, "Would it be fair to get official quarters for some of us? Nor did not let us claim our own rooms."
Sure. And where is the key for those terrible manacles?
She rolls her eyes. "He threw it overboard."
Huh.
He would.
Maybe something could be done about that. Does my small key that was used to open the lockbox, is that anywhere close to the size
No.
necessary for? Okay, way too big.
No, way too big.
Alrighty, I'll have to see about getting that removed somehow.
Oh, Regan actually does want to speak to the Sarcasmus about something.
Okay, yeah, like everybody else, I think like maybe you guys, Telemon, we can fade the scene out as Telemon and Pity maybe walk off into the villa talking about like where the apartmentation of the goblins should be, and we're left with Regan standing there with Sarcasmos. And Sarcasmos turns and he lowers his head a little bit and he's like, sorry about the shed."
Regan's gonna shake his head and say, "No matter. At least you did not destroy my cart." And then I'm going to lean down and I'm going to talk quietly with him a little bit and say that there are visions of potential dangers here. If you can make sure everyone has a quick exit in mind, and then I wanted to speak with you if you still possess the. And then I'm going to think of it for a moment and kind of put like almost an air quote type motion and say the vial of boom.
Wait, but say that again. My hearing is a little bit bad from that boom.
There may be dangers in the future that we have foreseen, and I was wondering if you still had the vial of boom, and also about making sure that the goblins that live here have an evacuation plan, so to speak.
Oh, yes, I'll see about that. He opens up a pouch, and you see like a handful of small glass marbles, like
God, he
like
split the Vilaboom up into marbles.
in there, like there's like like maybe 6 of them. And he's like they kind of rattle against each other as he lifts it up, and he's like, well, um there's maybe 1 or 2 less trees out in the field, but these I call them boom balls.
And pauses and looks a little distressed for a second and says, I hope that you did not use too much of the boom balls yet.
He says, he says, I had to go bury the vial somewhere, dude. If that thing went off, it'd take half the town with it, I think.
Regan nods and says, that is kind of what I was looking for. I'm glad there are more. I am hoping that you might be able to put something into the basement, and I would like you to load at least half of the vial of boom if you were able to extract it in the basement and put it on a fuse.
Half? What? What do you mean on a fuse? It's not really like.
Regan says a traditional explosive, or even not an explosive, but something that could ignite on a fuse placed in with the vials of boom, and I would like to bury it either in the crypts or the basement.
Is there something I should know?
Regan pauses for a moment and thinks
I don't know. We should have that underneath our home.
Then is going to look at him and look at him eye to eye and say that beings beyond any comprehension he has may show at our door one day.
Do you have your hands on either of his shoulders, and are you like staring him in the face?
Oh, absolutely. You might even see my tongue flicking slightly.
He just looks absolutely terrified. He says, I'll try.
Hence the escape plan.
Regan pats him on the shoulder and says, "This is hang on here. I'm gonna pat him on the shoulder and say that this is hopefully not something that may be needed and as a last resort, Sarcasmos. But one day, if this should come to pass, it may be our only option."
Can you roll loyalty, 2d6 plus 2, to get him to do this obviously insane task? 8. Yeah, I know exactly. He says, I'll try. And he gets like a mischievous look on his face. I may need some money for, materials, though. Yes.
Regan's just not even going to say a word, and he's going to take out a little coin bag with 40 freaking coins in it and hand it over to him.
He quickly, like without even looking at it, he just like passes it into a pocket in his robe. It's like he doesn't even really grasp it in his hand. And he nods.
Regan says, "Make sure to let me know when it is prepared, but I don't know if you want to tell Telemon. He may be a bit paranoid of such a thing, or the others, perhaps."
Maybe Master Tel shouldn't know. Just remember, you're the one that asked for this.
Regan swears that this is of a last resort, and should it be discovered, he will take the full blame.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Regan smiles and again, and like a proud grandfatherly smile, and starts heading back to the villa.
You see, like I think Regan does that, and he doesn't notice it. But if there was a camera on the situation, we would see Sarcasmo shiver a little bit.
I like his him doing drills daily with with the goblins.
Evacuation
banging
drills.
pots together. Minions of death approach. Evacuate, evacuate.
All right, that's funny. Let me mark down that Sarcasmos has 40 more gold on his character sheet. I think right now he's. I won't go into that.
Loaded. He's the richest of us all.
He may or may not be richer than some player characters. He may or may
Very
not
little
have
use of
looted
personal
some
wealth.
player characters when they died.
Yeah, I think he did.
I think it has little use for personal wealth, but spending that kind of money to ensure that we may have an option out of the future that was potentially foreseen is well worth it.
Okay, so, did you guys want to look into, like, doing some side work while you're, kind of waiting, waiting for the right time to get with, or I guess to visit the Baron's manor?
I might want to do a little research into the target Death gave me. I actually need the notes again on its name. That's the reason I keep calling it that. I actually need to
Oh,
hold the
yeah.
guild again.
You most certainly have it written down in your book.
Oh yeah.
Morgath the Devourer.
Was that the deal of death that you had?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Padine if he's ever heard a tale of Morgath the Devourer. I don't know if or anybody that's ever combated him or fought him in ancient times, that sort of thing.
I think
Let's see here.
this does not come up for you. This was
Probably not.
this was previously described as like prehistoric
Okay.
lore.
Okay, yes, no stories. I'm sorry. Never heard of Morgath the Devourer. I'd be interested to hear more about it, though.
Certainly not for Padine, who has tales of heroes. No heroes would have lived against Morgath the Devourer.
Oh, that does not bode well then.
Nope.
If I show the origin of the spears or the residence therein to our to Sarcasmos, would he be able to find any reference to Morgath the Devourer?
The stuff about the spheres definitely talks more about that was more due with like magical artifacts having to do with generating like fields and stuff, specifically the thing in the temple.
Got it. Made a note on that too, so I would.
Although it's never wrong to ask Sarcasmos, like, what do you glean from this? Because he is there to help.
I think
So,
once I'm done all my conversations with the goblins, if any occur,
Yeah, well, I guess we need to figure out how much you want to pay them weekly.
I
We'll
think that
commune while you are.
that would depend on
finagling
how
the
many want
deals.
jobs and how many have what they can offer.
and how my weekly my
I think-
old man is.
I think in total, 25 of them will be staying. This is counting like children. I think there's probably like 18 adults. Getting some official numbers here. So a poor meal for a family is 1 coin. You're not going to be feeding these guys richly. So I think it's probably going to be like maybe.
And with the work, 8 coin a week, something like that.
Well, it's probably going to be. Let's say there's probably. I'm gonna consider like a family.
It's about 6 families.
Yeah. So like,
Or something.
yeah.
Be nice if it was a multiple
Well,
of 4 though. So how about 12 coin a week?
we can say that. Let me look. Actually, let me just try to get a specific thing. So, a family. I'm gonna say it's like a family of 5, 1 coin per day. So I think it's going to be
Oh, that's per day.
30,
That's
30,
more than
35 coin a week for the goblins.
How much for my old man?
Oh, he's included.
Oh, okay.
How many more coins for my grave digger goblin? No, he's included in the adults.
That's awesome.
36 divides betterly, or betterly, more better.
What do you mean divides better?
For 4 of us, if we're gonna.
Well,
pay
you
it
don't
that way.
you don't technically own the villa though.
True.
So I don't know how you
We
want to
need to
work
pay.
this out. Telemon technically owns the place, so I think the expenses come down to Telemon, but profits also come down to Telemon if there is such a thing. And Telemon, like, you can choose to share the expenses if you want to. Like, the deed can still be in your name. I mean, it has to be in somebody's name. But if you want to like actually make it into a guild where expenses are divided evenly, that's fine. How would you like to handle that, Telemon? Because it's technically
If they
your
want to evenly
guild
divide
hall.
the expenses with the profits, I'm fine with that. Right now there are no profits, but hopefully in the future there will be. I'm
Okay.
hoping that among these goblins there's at least a couple that have useful skills. If nothing else, we can always start growing crops or something of that nature.
All right, so we'll bump it up to 36. Somebody's probably going to break an egg somewhere. And that comes like to 9 per person per week. I'm not going to do the division for you guys. We're treading into territory where we normally get to in Stars Without Number. I'm just going to say it's the cost for the guild, 36 coins a week to feed the goblins. Feed the goblins.
Yeah, I don't know if you have time to distinguish which ones have skills and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to expect that right now.
Oh no, but like, there's definitely people. I think a lot of it's going to be like, I think a large portion of it is just going to be maintaining the house, or in the grounds and stuff, like replacing rotten sections of the wood and sweeping it daily and keeping it clean. Like, you basically have like a permanent steward service here, and then you have like a handful of gobs that can like maintain a garden. Um, and maybe one that can work in like the workshop. We can definitely. I'll have to get some time to think about what you can all do with them. Um, but yeah, you guys have like a labor force of goblins. I think 36 will cover the food.
Oh, we'll also need to like they wanted like rooms and stuff. I don't know what the house and board situation is as far as
Yeah,
the
well,
size
that's.
of the villa.
I mean, like, that's not paying them even. Because you said that you would pay them, and like, paying them just enough to keep them living is not necessarily. I don't know if you guys think of that as indentured servitude, but that's technically indentured servitude. Um, uh, I think there's probably like I think maybe if you want to pay them each like a gold, um, like each family another gold per week. Um, that would give them a little bit to lean on. We're saying that they're like 5 5 families. So like we'll bump that up to 41. And I'm not trying to get too technical with this, but like just paying for food is I don't think quite enough.
Yeah, I agree. I would pay more than that.
Miscellaneous stuff like them needing clothes and I think also covering like miscellaneous things like nails and stuff that they might need to repair things about the thing. We'll just say like another 10 coins. We'll say 9. It'll come out to an even 50.
Which does not divide well amongst 4.
Doesn't matter. If there's a disbalance, I'll pay the difference.
50 coin a week? We're gonna start needing to make money.
52. There you go. Divides evenly. That's per week. It basically ensures that when you guys return home, like the place is kept up clean. You don't really have to worry about much. You will always have like a meal, so you don't have to worry about like buying a ration every day or anything like that. Probably not going to be like additional expenses for like their individual jobs. And I will tell you, like, I think the expenses right now are going to be 52 per week. But that will basically let you maintain this place in that you can hire or I guess like acquire adventurers who can also help you and go out on adventures with you or like go out on things that you don't want to do yourself. And I think like for instance, like if they had a garden, you guys might have enough rations to whenever you returned home, you would be able to restock up to 5. That sort of thing. And if you had somebody working in the workshop, everybody, if you had ammo, you could restock your ammo up to 3. That sort of thing. So like not huge bonuses, but less things you have to worry about or pay for in town and stuff like that. And eventually it lets you, kind of expand. So I think this initial cost is the biggest. I mean, like you don't even want to know like what I don't even want to know what we would do if we were having to figure out what like the daily expenses were for owning a castle.
Yeah, I don't think I want to know that. I just rather the DM say, you owe this much. Okay.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
At castle level, I think it would probably just be fiated. That you have enough people and that it's taken care of. This is the maximum we will ever deal with.
I can deal with, I don't think I want to deal with bigger than a guild house. I can probably deal with numbers for a guild house.
I paid for my first week already. I subtracted it from my coin.
All right, so
Probably
I guess we need to settle on a firm date then. Did I tell you it was what? I think I gave you guys a date.
Red.
It was the
Oh,
10th. The 10th.
I know you did, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't
So you
remember
can
what
probably
it was
spout any date and it'd probably be just fine.
I think it's 13.
All right, we'll go with 13th. Each month is just a flat 30 days. Not doing leap shit.
Works for me.
Well, 28 divides better.
Oh my god.
It's a lunar month.
We'll do 30 days.
4 weeks. 7 times 4 is 28.
All right. Jesus. 28 days. So we are the 10th of red. I actually have the months laid out somewhere else. I'll tell you what number of them, like where in the. This is essentially fall right now, or like late summer, early fall. Officially the 13th of red. we'll say that you're paying that on the 14th, so your next one will be on the 21st, and then yeah, we'll just do your payments every 7 days.
Cool.
I will work out what all the gobs can do around the guild before excuse me, our next session.
We'll also have to work out how to get those manacles off of.
Yeah, she
What was her
would be
name?
a good,
Yeah.
guild
It was
hall
like
greeter
Preda
for
or something?
potential employment. Pleta.
Did you we
Fleta,
still have
okay.
some time here. Are you is anybody else doing anything specifically? I know like Telemon, were you looking into the artifact you have?
Oh yes. I imagine you said there was a lake. I imagine I've gotten some type of floating platform out in the center of that would
Yeah, like
possibly
I think
be
this
used
this
for
is probably
magical
like
things that could possibly
maybe
not blow something up.
maybe
then.
a day trip out to the lake with Sarcasmos. And like Sarcasmos is rowing you out as you're like, getting the windage and like you're like, stop here, Sarcasmos, and he stops. He's like, you're not going to blow us up again, right?
Well, hopefully not. But the thing is, we don't know what this does. I'd rather experiment with it in a place that doesn't involve blowing up an entire guild house.
Okay, it is good that I left the marbles back home. Okay, yes.
Marbles? What marbles?
Nothing. Just children's toys. Yes. Don't wanna damage those.
Don't want to slip on those.
Yeah. You ever read that tale about the goblin that stayed home all alone and the burglars came? Fun tale. So what are we doing, Master Tale?
I brought this statuette with us. It's quite a beautiful
Ooh,
thing.
Looks valuable.
It
Jade.
does. It seems to react.
You see his
to
eyes
magic.
glint a little bit.
But its value is not in the fact that it's made of jade, but in that it reacts to magic. We're
It
here
does.
today to hopefully figure out what this statue does.
You see like a wince, and he's like, okay.
I
Oh.
understand that look.
And like he realizes that you're out in the middle of the lake, and he just goes, oh.
Yes, we don't know what it would do, which is why we're out in the middle of the lake.
At least you're not doing another fireball.
It does not seem to be the kind of thing to be doing that, but
All
one
right.
can never tell.
So, like you hold it in your hands, and you want to like shunt magical energy into it.
Yes. Do you want me to do I have to give a particular spell or?
You start to pour magic energy into it, and it seems like it's not going to be like charged until it consumes a full spell slot.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be of any particular level.
Okay, I will shunt magic missile.
Okay. All right, so you're holding it in your hands, and you start pouring your magic energy forth. And you're looking at it, and like I told you before, that it's almost like the eyes don't have pupils, but it's almost like they're looking back at you, and then you see one of them blink, and like it blinks again, and it starts to move, and like you feel a shifting in your hands as like individual feathers start to shift, and as it does, like color starts to come to the statue, and Sarcasmus goes, "Yes!" And he scrambles a little bit back into the boat, and he's like, "It's alive!" And yeah, like as you're watching, and like I think you go from holding it to like just kind of cradling it in your hands. It starts to grow and expand and transform before your eyes into a regal hunting falcon. All right, so I can read you the rest of the description. When held by a normal person, this beautiful statue is simply a statue. However, when held by one in which magic energy flows, the statue's soft green takes on a new, almost welcoming tone. If taken in hand and charged with the power of magic, this statue starts to come to life, growing and transforming before your eyes into a regal hunting falcon. Its movements and motions are just a hair slower than other birds, appearing as if it were heavier than perhaps it should be. But aside from that, the only other thing that sets it apart from a normal living falcon are its completely jade green eyes. And so, like, yeah, this thing transforms into a falcon in front of you, and it looks, for all intents and purposes, like a living bird, except like beneath its blinking eyelids, it are like jade, like very smooth, polished, like jade marbles. And it looks at you, and it makes like a kind of a gentle falcon caw. And you get like a kind of a tickling in the back of your mind, as you register like a presence, and like it looks at you, and you realize that like you can sort of communicate with this thing, not verbally, but it basically kind of understands what you want it to do.
Quite intriguing.
There definitely
Yes.
seems to be some sort of mental link.
Are the fish leaping in the pond today?
You look around. You can see some ripples across the pond, or I guess across the lake. And like you assume there's probably some fish over there.
I directed to try to catch one of the fish as it leaps.
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, it dives off your hand, and like you feel like a kind of a rough scratch against your hands, and like you have like your palms are kind of bleeding from its sharp talons, but it dives
I have
off,
to get
and
a falconer's glove.
yeah, it dives off, and it flies over, and you hear like a falcon shriek, and it dives down, and its legs disappear into the water for a second. It comes up holding like a small fish, and it kind of arcs majestically in the air, very smoothly, and it starts to bring it back towards you. I think I can officially copy this over to your sheet. This is the second longest item description we have. But I think it'll still fit on your sheet. Yes, it will.
Wow, it's a
So
long one.
yeah. So to bring the Jade Falcon to life, expend a spell slot. While the statue is animated, treat it as an ongoing spell. So, like it has the effect of a -1. However, while it is active, the Falcon treats you as its falconer and acts as an animal companion with the strengths and weaknesses as described below. Furthermore, when you close your eyes for a few seconds, you can share its vision, and through it, you can use Hunt and Track as the ranger. It has a ferocity score of 2, a cunning score of 3, 0 armor, and 2 instinct. It is fast, and it has keen senses. It is savage, and it is unnatural. It has the following abilities that it can use. It can fight humanoids. It can fight monsters. It can hunt, and it can scout. You have a supernatural connection with it. You can't talk to it per se, but it always acts as you wish it to. And then at the bottom, you kind of have your standard companion move sorts of things.
It's pretty cool.
And this thing was actually like on the island at some point, and people walked right by it.
Really? Trying to think of where and when.
There was a room with many statues of eyes in it. I'd bet there.
I'm just gonna say there was a point where somebody had their hand on a wall, but it was the wrong wall as they were walking. Like if they had their left arm out instead of their right arm, they would have found something very interesting that nobody discovered.
What Because Regan was missing that arm. I couldn't put my arm against the wall on that side. I was missing my arm.
How heavy is it? Like when it's actually a statue?
It has a tag of 1
I
weight.
see it.
So it has its downsides, but if you're willing to carry it, you basically have like a summonable animal companion, and you can see through it and do things with it.
Will pie on most days. Definitely cool.
Ranger
You
mage.
see
I
Sarcasmus.
like that.
When
Like Sarcasmus
Dogs
is
want
just
it-
like staring, and it flutters back down onto your sleeve, and it digs into your arm, and it's really painful. But you kind of
I wince a little bit. I
yeah
have to see about getting a glove for it though.
yeah. He's like it's not going to pluck out my eyes, is it? My eyes are not tasty. He looks at it.
That's one
trust me.
thing that does a little worry about. It does not eat. I don't think. Anyways.
Like it, you, yeah, like it doesn't have to eat. You can tell it to eat. You think, but it doesn't have to eat.
How long does it last? Is it like a?
It's as long as you keep it on going.
Okay. Well, I will end it and return it to its statue form.
Yeah, so you turn it into a statue, and it eventually kind of shrinks. Like it only grew like maybe like 30%, maybe 40%. It's not like a huge falcon, and it shrinks back down into the statue form in your hands. Takes about
Sure,
maybe
to be
like
a useful
30
item.
seconds. I actually had made that for what's his name, Amorous, even though he already had a magical or had an owl.
I just find it hilarious that the picture I chose has such a thing already on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I brought it back because you mentioned that you had one in your picture. I'm like, oh, I might as well reuse this.
Pretty awesome. I like it.
All right, so
I have so many magical items now. I've got like 4.
Telemon the Mage Ranger is with us.
the Mage Sword Ranger, really, he's very very versatile.
Isn't Ranger's damage a D8?
This is true. The Major.
He's
Telemon the
That
Major.
trade.
Who's Telemon the Minor?
That might be Sarcasmus.
yes.
Is there anything anybody else would be doing during this day before we wrap up?
Not that I can
I
find anything to.
Communed.
I had planned for things to happen with action involved, but the lack of the barbarian sort of sank the session.
Oh, it's no problem, man. Not your fault.
Let's see here. When Sarcasmus and Telemon return, I ask, well, so where were you off to?
Oh well, we were by the lake, fishing. Like he looks at Telemon like he's suddenly not sure if Telemon wanted to divulge the secrets of the Jade Falcon.
Catch anything interesting, Tel?
We did catch a fish. Brought it back for dinner.
Okay.
I'm looking for any information I can find on Morgoth. Is there even any place in town, like some great library with information on old?
Oh, there's a library, but
Anything it's like.
well, there's a
records?
bookstore. There is not a library.
There
You
isn't at all.
inquire at the bookstore maybe, and they tell you that the only library is at the under the Baron's possession, like the Baron's manor.
Oh, interesting. I will thank you very much for that.
And like you
information,
ask them at the bookstore, and it's like they have some older tomes, but like nothing going back more than a couple centuries at the very most, and those are their rarest items.
I also thank them profusely because the knowledge that there might be a library under the Baron's control make me.
Yeah, I
give
think
me something to ask him.
I think the guy, middle-aged human, running the bookstore, I think his name is like Hermit. He's more than happy to talk with you. He's like, most people around these parts aren't particularly interested in knowledge from books.
Regan will sigh and say that is unfortunate. That perhaps one day there will be more. That everyone will be interested in books. I kind of smile to him as I look around through his shelves. Doesn't have any folk legends by any chance in these stories about people that have bound their magical power to the
I'll be back.
and kept it in the afterlife, do they? I'm still looking for information on that.
I just wish there was a luck roll in this.
I wish there was too, honestly. I really do.
You do find no, I know what I can have you do. Give me a discern realities as you spend several hours perusing the bookstore's shelves.
Ooh, that sounds good. That's with Ant, right?
Yeah.
Let me roll it.
Actually, it's Wiz.
Discern realities is Wiz?
Yeah,
Is it?
says
Oh, yeah,
Wiz
yeah,
was
wisdom,
rolled.
wisdom.
Oh,
yeah,
cool,
wisdom.
cool. I will take that. And an 8. Not the greatest success in the world, but not the worst.
Yeah, so you don't find anything very specific. You find like maybe like some book that talks about like, you know, wild and mysterious creatures, and there's like an entry about like wraiths that you like kind of chuckle about. And in other like planar beasties, and like there's a small section of like the realms of death. Not like very comprehensive given your firsthand knowledge of the place. And you're looking specifically for what?
Anything to do with someone that is retaining their powers through death, basically. Any like powerful mages that have died but have remained powerful in the afterlife, or even come back because of that.
I think you come across some names of like this person was said to have died and come back, or like this person was said to have crossed into death's realm and made off with their loved one. But like it's literally a name, and that's like it. Like it's like basically a story told. If there's a location, um, uh, it's basically like from a couple centuries ago. Like it's like it's just tales and stuff. It would be like if you found like Dante's Inferno.
Oh man, you know the sad part is Regan is so regretting the loss of the remains of Fenris the Green. He would have totally summoned Fenris the Green to have a conversation with him. That could have been a
That
very
was pretty
interesting moment.
unfortunate.
That was a man who knew how to do this, so I know it's possible. Regan's going to sigh and return to the guild hall.
Well, I guess we won't keep plodding along if there's nothing we're going to do. Unfortunately, I
I'm really
planned a
sorry
lot
for
more
that,
for
man.
the
I'm
session.
looking forward to seeing what happened in this party. Even though Regan is in character, been dragging
I'm
his feet
sorry
about it,
about
out of
this,
character,
Sar.
I'm amused.
We knew he was going to be coming, but we expected him to be coming earlier in the day. He showed up kind of late.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's an unfortunately disappointing no action session of Dungeon World. I had thought there would be some.
I was really looking forward to going to the thing and seeing what was up with this. I had a
Yeah.
feeling it wasn't going to be a straightforward dinner
So
party.
at least we get the XP point for looting an interesting treasure now.
Yeah, you do. So,
Oh, nice.
So I guess we'll do end of session first, and then we'll get to everybody's bonds. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
No, I don't think so.
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Nope.
Overcome a notable monster enemy.
Unless we count
Captain
the
Moore.
I was gonna say, unless we count Captain Nor getting rid of him.
No, you can mark 1 XP for figuring out what the Jade Falcon does. However,
Is that just for some people, or just for everybody?
that's everybody.
Oh, cool.
Krios gets no XP for his stuff. Padine, did you avoid a conflict or defuse the tense situation?
Yes, that was what my
Yeah.
goal for the whole person was.
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Moore.
Grab an XP for that. I know this is an XP slim one, but you managed to level up regardless.
Woo.
That's nice,
Your
man.
bonds.
The very last one, I think we solved that one finally.
Yeah.
It's gonna go hand in hand with Regan's bond with me, I
Regan
think.
is a good teacher. I will continue to learn from him. It sounds like that one came to an end.
Yep. So I'm either going to make a new one with Regan, or maybe another one with somebody else. We'll see.
We'll have to
I'll
see.
have
I'm
one by
actually
next
very
week.
curious because Regan's not giving up on his goal to convert Padine. He believes this is a setback and that he'll be proven right ultimately.
Oh, you're
God's
gonna
showing
keep that
quite
one,
the
huh?
temper. I'm keeping that one if it's okay with you. I'm still holding hope for Padine.
Alrighty.
You know, I might not have much chance of it out of character or in character, but by God,
It's not really up to me. If you're trying to convert me, I mean, that's pretty much on you.
I'm just waiting for your magics to fail again, and he who cannot be named to step in directly and use this as a kind
We'll
of. A
talk
moment.
about
Love
that in a
to see.
second. Regan, did you fulfill your alignment?
No, I didn't endanger myself at all.
Yeah. How about your bonds? I know you say you're working on converting Padine to your faith, but like this has been going on for a while, and he is like officially like denied you. Are you gonna continue with that?
You know what? I actually am. Now that his gods actually reached out to complain to him, I figure that maybe if it's just another step further. My character's gonna keep trying. I think if it's okay with everyone.
Is there going to? I guess the important question is there going to be a point where he would stop?
If he does something that actually like at any point that kind of hampers the the progress of what I need to accomplish, that would
All right,
probably
yeah,
shatter.
yeah. It's up to you.
So I know it's not an easy way to get XP that way, but it just feels like something my
Yeah.
character would keep.
How about you, Telmon?
Uh,
Did you use magic to directly aid another?
this session, I don't think I did.
Nope. In hindsight, I thought we were going to be doing more. I would have made a few more traveling rolls. I would have just had us have some action on the road. I thought we were going to be doing more things.
Things came up.
How about your bonds?
Nope, nothing really changed there. I was hoping
Yeah, I
to
don't
do
think so
something
either.
with Krios this session, but, you know. I was hoping we'd have at least some time to go to the tavern. He finally has coin, but being as that didn't happen, nothing for me there.
All right.
So I will stop the recording for this week then.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we will resume next Saturday. I know everybody's probably dungeon worlded out.